Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Oh, baby, what's happening here on a Tuesday? Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. We're all loaded up. A little Iceman chatter that might lead into maybe some other sports conversation. Just got down from the stadium doing a really cool piece for next week on the TV side. I'll tell you about it, but you have to stay tuned with Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye. That was really fun. We had a preseason game coming up. We have Charlie Ward scheduled to join us with Florida State on the horizon on Saturday. And Jason Fitz from ESPN and his interesting background and I think interesting timing, given the Andrew Luck situation, will join us today. So all that on the way. Brett Martin, Austin Lane, Coos is here. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Nice shorts.
Thank you.
You got the Tiger shorts. Tiger had
Rocking
surgery.
the Tiger.
Scoped
I saw
out.
that. Yeah, these are. I was kind of wearing these shorts and just kind of sending him some good vibes and everything like that.
Am
so.
I technically a better
I really didn't
athlete
know he
than
was
Tiger
having
Woods?
surgery.
Because I haven't had knee surgeries or anything.
Because one would say you haven't done a lot of athletic things lately.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I have, though.
To
I mean,
warrant that surgery.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I might be getting close to benching more than Tiger.
When are we going to start doing those 40-yard dashes in the parking lot like we talked about?
You know, when I'm in good shape right now, man.
You and Gene Fournette. I gotta get Gene Fournette's time too.
If you just put me in 40-yard dash territory with Fournette, then you're
5'2",
sorely mistaken.
foot. Yeah,
you're going to overlook one of your competitors. Okay, don't do that. Well, you got a new tattoo. You inspired by Mr. Swagoo.
Yeah. I got it last Saturday.
Like 3 days ago last Saturday.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this past Saturday, started to get my little sleeve of my leg going on. I was not inspired by Alex Magoo. This was this was in the talks for a long time. I haven't had a conversation with you, so this was in talks for a long time. But yeah, it started on the shin, and needless to say, probably the least painful spot I've gotten tattooed so far.
On the shin?
Yeah, because
because you have a dead shin.
Because all the nerves in my shin are pretty much dead. So
what's that called again? When you kick, conditioning, shin conditioning.
Oh, shin conditioning. Yeah, shin conditioning. So when she was going over my shin and everything, like I couldn't feel like literally anything, and then all of a sudden she'd hit that spot, like I could feel it, and like my leg would twitch, and then it was back to feeling nothing again. So on the pain scale of 1 to 10 for like a leg tattoo, I'm going to go with a 1.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Pretty refreshing.
That MMA is good for something.
Yeah, exactly. Just killing the crap out of my shins. Yes, sir.
I got a question for you.
I have an answer.
This is not intended to be sexist.
Here we go.
It really isn't. So don't take it this way. Well, if you have to lead in like that, you're probably on the verge.
Yeah.
But if you go to get a massage, say, hey, do you care if it's a male or female masseuse?
Sure.
Whatever, it doesn't bother me. Really, I don't care. I'd probably more side with the female for whatever reason.
I would too.
Even though I like the deep tissue massage.
Yep.
So whatever, it is what it is. But so from a
Brent's
tattoo,
trying to say men are stronger than women when it comes to massages.
Well, you'd think.
Well, it's
stereotyping. I know I lifted more than my wife at the gym yesterday. So
well, she's still a Hall of Famer though.
She
Brent.
is.
Yeah.
On the verge.
Talk about her. Okay.
Not yet. She still could be eliminated.
Still have to give that speech first.
She better not get arrested or
anything
like that.
Speech. Okay.
But how about from a tattoo artist standpoint?
Yeah.
Do you have a preference? Female to male.
This was actually the first time that a female has tattooed me, and the reason why I went to her is because she has great line work. So for my sleeve that I'm getting on my leg, it requires a lot of like just lines nonstop. Usually there's like my other tattoos, there's some flow and everything. This is more, I guess you'd call it intricate, where you got to be super careful of the lines. So I kind of recruited her, and she was more than happy to do it. Overall, I mean, it was a great experience regardless. I've never really had a bad. I guess my first tattoo was kind of a bad experience because I was 16 years old in some guy's kitchen. So that, you can
probably
imagine how that went.
Probably not the ideal way to write it up.
Yeah, you can imagine how that. Well, Brent, when the legal age is 18 in Wisconsin, you have to find ways around that. So some guys.
What's the legal age here?
Couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
Is there law?
I think it's 18 unless you have your parents' permission, but don't quote me on that.
Well,
I'm not
because
sure.
I do see, and I'm not trying to rat anybody out here.
Yeah.
I see a lot of high school kids with tattoos.
Yeah.
I see a lot of the football players,
so
the
then
athletes.
maybe it's 16 and then with your
Or
parents'
maybe
permission?
there isn't one.
Yeah,
maybe
according to Google, it's 16.
Oh,
Florida?
16.
In Florida, yep.
Huh.
Okay.
I never even thought
Pennsylvania
about
was
it.
18 as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad. I tried to give Ty and Kaylee a tattoo at 8.
Oh,
Couldn't go to prison.
Can you imagine Ty like in the batter's box rocking like an arm tattoo, man?
That would be awesome.
Scouts would start just rolling in for that.
I was seeing like where you have the flame start here, just goes all the way up the arm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
But
I might have to work on that.
Yeah, but no. Anyway, so the artist that I had, her name was Soleil, and she did a great job. I have another session with her in a couple weeks now. But yeah, she's badass. She's awesome.
Dude, we give free advertising to everybody. Where is she?
She's at Black Hive Tattoo.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, and by the way, so when I walked in the shop, the owner, his name is Nick, said, "Dude, you're rocking our merch." And I forgot when we were at the shrimp baseball game, I was wearing a Black Hive tattoo sleeveless shirt.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, "We appreciate you putting on." I'm like, "I'll be honest, dude, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just warm and I wanted a sleeveless shirt, and that was the one that popped up."
Is that different? What's the name of the CrossFit?
So that's also Black Hive. Yeah, they're not coincided with each other.
that's
No,
not.
it's completely different.
Huh.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Interesting
I have
indeed.
a business proposition for those guys.
Black Hive Sports Radio?
Just go get the same building and share
Yeah,
it.
there we go. CrossFit and tattoos?
That's it.
Yeah.
Why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember
We're onto
Uche.
something.
Uche
Uche
he
did
had
the bar.
He had tattoos and bars. Yeah.
Does he still have that place?
I don't think so. No.
I remember when he started that thing
For
up in
sure.
Atlanta.
Atlanta, correct.
Pretty wild. Hey,
Very
we'll
wild.
talk sports in a minute, people. We're fine, all right? We're trying to make a lot of money for people
Yes,
here
sir.
instead.
Yes, sir. A lot of free publicity.
That's right. Hey, Florida State comes to town this week. Obviously, the Jags play on Thursday night. Can you get us into let's just be honest, we're not going to dissect this game on Thursday night very much. It's the least of the ones you do.
Oh, I was going to, but okay.
Or you can, and you'll be on your own on Thursday, so you can do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that because there are battles to be won, and we'll talk about the battles. But what I think it's an interesting deal because right now, everybody outside the building, fans, and I think probably I'm guilty of this too, media, I'm kind of on to Kansas City.
Of course.
In my space, in my headspace, I'm on to Kansas City like, okay, I get 2 weeks to get ready for this thing, and Leonard Fournette, and who's healthy on the offensive line? Is this offense going to be good? All those things, because that's the storyline for the next 4 months. But I think there's a sincere focus in the building to not do that out of respect for – now, they do that to some degree. You even said it, the coaches and players. But I also think – at the same time, in that same breath, there's a sincere respect for the guys that are gone to battle with them for the last few months, this entire training camp, and some that they know are not going to make the team. You cut from 90 to 53. We know they're not going to make the team, but they might be able to put tape out there, resume out there, go sign with another team. And I talked to Leonard Fournette after the game on Thursday night. Remember what he said, and he was very cognizant of that during our interview right after the game when I asked him about Kansas City. And then talking to some players in the locker room, Chris Conley the same way. He's like, hey, this is a big opportunity. And, we put our cheerleading hat on in a way for these guys. So I think that's kind of cool. I don't think that was – Leonard Fournette said it right after the game. I don't think that was like Doug Marrone inspired. Now, everybody else might have been, Doug Marrone might have been this week to the team, hey, we got to focus on a game, but I want you to make sure you have a lot of respect for the rest of the people in this locker room, have one more chance to fight and show on tape and all that stuff, eye in the sky. So I think that's kind of a cool thing, but it's a weird dynamic because, again, everybody else is kind of on to Kansas City. Yeah. You've lived that dynamic, though. You live that toward
both sides.
Yeah, knowing both sides of it. What is it like in there, and how true is it? Is there some genuine respect and interest from the starters toward the backups and back end of this roster going into Thursday night?
So let's start from the perspective when I was a starter on the Jaguars. So that would have been going into 2011, 2012, where I knew I was going to be the starter, so it was all good. Wasn't going to play in the fourth preseason game. I think I might have did my 2012, but whatever. But I was going to make the team basically. So
you knew it.
I knew it. Yeah. So it's so weird because when you're in this when you're in the training camp setting, Brent, and whatever, it's 4 or 5 weeks of just nonstop, and you're there every single day at the stadium. You're there from 6:30 in the morning till about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and you're around those same guys every single day, and you're around those guys more than you are with your family. Now, every once in a while, maybe you get a day off, you could go to hang out with your family and stuff like that. But I'm talking about for the most part of training camp, you're with your teammates more than you're with your family. So obviously, you start to share this bond, and training camp sucks. I don't care if it's from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or this year. Training camp always sucks. It's not a fun experience. You're out in the heat, you're sweating, you're sore, it's mundane, it's over and over again. But what helps you get through that process is you're not by yourself. You're with 89 other guys who are going through the same thing with you. And when you share that in common, you start to share that bond a little bit. So, it doesn't matter if it's defensive lineman with offensive lineman. I mean, everybody in that locker room, they have some kind of respect for each other because you're all doing the same thing. Now, yes, there's starters, there's backups, there's scout teams, there's guys that are probably not going to make the team, there's guys on that are in the training room that you don't really get to see on the field, but you all share respect and moderation because you're going through the exact same training camp. So now when it starts to become cut time and the roster number is going to get dwindled a little bit, it's almost like a bittersweet moment from the perspective you're going to make the team because you're going to make the team. So it's all gravy. You're going to get the paychecks. You're on to Kansas City week 1. You're getting excited for that. But at the same time, that dynamic that you had for the past 5-6 weeks of training camp isn't going to be there anymore. That maybe a guy that you sat across from isn't going to be there anymore, or a guy that you shared some laughs with isn't going to be there anymore. And it's one thing just to kind of count down those days, burn the calendar, but you can't do that, right? Because you have to approach every single day like, all right, I have to get better today. I can't think about I'm going to get cut. So by the time the cuts actually happen, it almost happens unexpectedly because you plan for it, but you can't prepare yourself for it. Yeah. And it's a very somber scene from that perspective of being a vet that you're going to make the team. Watching those guys who busted their ass and everything for whatever reasons, maybe it's a politics thing where maybe there's a draft pick who went higher that they're going to keep on even though maybe he's not the better player. Maybe an injury occurred, or maybe the coaches just don't like the guy, or maybe he just got outplayed. Whatever the reason is, you definitely feel for those guys. Yeah. And it's almost like you have to leave him behind, and you're going on to the season. So there's a couple days of mourning, and then it's on to Kansas City. Unfortunately, it's just the way it works.
And I want to ask you about the other side of it, and on the ladder into your career, and what's it like to be the guy that you're just not sure, or you might think you're going to get cut, or when do you know you're going to get cut? That side of it. But to your point, I think you see it on the sidelines when Picasso Nelson makes a pick. When number 30, why am I losing? Who made the pick in the first game? Defensive back. It was like the only good play in the game. Not Revis. Nope. Revis played well in the first game. Tay Hayes. Tay Hayes, thank you. That was tough. That was the toughest thing I did all day.
It took me a while, man. Sorry.
But when Tay Hayes made the play, you could see the genuine joy from Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Boye and all those guys. And we see it out in the practice field. Something we noticed is Rams and Boye staying out with those guys a little longer, teaching them some things. Something I think that goes a little bit unnoticed from a guy like Ramsey, especially who doesn't want to be this leader guy, or at least publicly. And so you can see it. You can see the relationships get built and friendships get built, even though they might not be teammates in a couple of weeks.
And when you say it like that, Brent, those guys are celebrating. It's almost like when you're on that field and you know you're probably not going to make the team, you're just having so much fun where you're not really worried about tomorrow. And even if you're a veteran cheering those guys on, you're having so much fun watching them succeed, because you went through the same practice that they went through, and now they're having their moment on the field. You're having so much fun cheering for them that you don't think about the next day of cuts coming.
All right. Well, when did you know that you weren't going to make the roster? The other side of it, Austin Lane has lived it, and that day is coming this week for a lot of Jacksonville Jaguars players. Sure, there's a safety net of the practice squad. And that's a little bit of a safety net, but not for everybody. We'll talk about that side of things. And what are the biggest battles for the Jags? I just spent a little bit of time on it. That wide receiver spot, will they keep 6? DJ Chark, it looks like he's on his way back, so that's good news for the Jags. But it could be bad news for a guy that's on the bubble. Talk all about that and more. We have Charlie Ward on the way a little bit later on. Jason Fitz will join us. and Gronk and CBD. Interesting topic. He says he's never felt better. Could he have a return to the NFL at some point down the road? We'll get into it all on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Hey everybody, it's football season and Action Sports Jacks knows how to celebrate with more coverage than anyone else in Jacksonville. Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Jacksonville to Baltimore to Miami. This month, join us every night on CBS 47 and Fox 30 at 11:15 p.m. for First and 10 Training Camp. Shows every day with Action Sports Jacks right here on the radio on ESPN 690 and on TV, CBS 47 and Fox 30. Daily from Jags Camp. Football season is back with Action Sports Jacks. Tax problems can be extremely stressful and cause financial devastation. The tax attorneys at J. David Tax Law are right here in Jacksonville to be your personal advocate and resolve your IRS or state sales tax issues. J. David Tax Law focuses on your needs and case outcomes. Don't be fooled by these big out-of-town tax companies that only focus on getting you to sign up and pay without even working with an attorney. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit-down with J. David Tax Law. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777. Peace of mind only a click or phone call away, 904-507-4777, or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com. Hey, fantasy footballers, this is Brent Martineau. Pizza, wings, and ice-cold drafts at your upcoming draft. Let's make it happen. Host your party at Renna's in Neptune Beach, the newest of 5 locations in the area. Specials available for your draft party, plus Wi-Fi and televisions. Pick the players with the fastest 40 times at Renna's Pizza, family-owned for more than 40 years. Want a fresh one? Then get to Renna's Pizza in Neptune Beach for your fantasy football draft party. And tell them ESPN 690 sent you.
Help save lives from heart disease and stroke. Join the American Heart Association at Metropolitan Park on Saturday, September 21st for the First Coast Heart Walk. Visit firstcoastheartwalk.org.
The First Coast Heart Walk is sponsored by Main Street America Group, Mayo Clinic, and Florida Blue.
Action News Jacks this morning. Now, the most watched local morning news. Because when you need to know right now, we're live on the scene from the beaches to downtown to St. Johns County. Meteorologist Garrett Beatonball with a detailed local forecast you can't get on your phone. And traffic expert Derek Odom. He's an advisor for the Department of Transportation, warning you first about backups before you ever leave the house. Action News Jacks this morning. Now, the most watched local morning news.
It got me thinking back to my days covering the Giants camp. I remember talking about how hard it was, mostly if it went against the rules, because Strahan and some other players would challenge Coughlin on it.
Do you remember those days, though, where teams would get punished?
Action Sports Jacks, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Dan Lebitard from the Dan Lebitard Show with Stugotz. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back here to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Tuesday. Hope you're doing well, having a good day, another hot one. And looks like we got a little system in the tropics coming.
I'm trying to remember the name of the...
Dorian.
Dorian, that's right.
You know what it's like in a newsroom when something like this hits
Stressful.
the radar? Not stressful for me.
Well, yeah, no, but watching everybody else.
Well, it is a little stressful for me because everything I have planned then gets thrown out of the way. And so that is a little stressful. In fact, there was a time earlier today I might have been a little angry.
Okay.
But I've calmed down. I feel okay now.
Okay. What's up?
Don't get me angry.
You want to talk about it, man?
No,
What's
I'm
up?
good. I'm good.
I'm still waiting for
Over the
first
hurricane or the tropical storm that's forming?
Yeah, but just when the tropical storm comes, which will be like a rain shower.
Shots fired at Dorian.
When's the first Dorian meme gonna get posted?
Probably already has.
Yeah.
But it just takes up a lot of resources, you know.
Okay.
Which is cool. Like storm coverage actually is in a way. Like you don't want storm, you don't want a lot of damage, you don't want anybody getting hurt, any of that stuff. But I'm just saying from a TV perspective, it's kind of fun.
Sure.
Like I think it's fun. Like there's got to be a rush to it. Yeah. Now, it also means you're working longer days and, there's a lot of maybe over the weekends. So it's not easy.
It's not really my style.
Yeah, it's not. And this isn't for me. I'm saying it's not easy for people who normally have Saturday, Sunday off or normally work 8-hour shifts or whatever.
Yep.
All of a sudden now you might be working a 20-hour shift in rain. You're soaking wet. You don't know what's going, So there's a lot that goes into it. But, and around here we've had some big ones.
Yeah.
So I don't take them lightly. I'm just saying it really changes the dynamic downstairs.
Gotcha.
Things heighten.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
People are on edge a little bit.
And you know what it's like? Here's what I think it's like a
what
little
do you
bit.
got?
You tell me if this is true or not.
Okay.
And you especially can tell me now. I think the statute of limitations is over on this. Probably not.
Okay.
But this is the story I heard.
About me?
No.
Oh, good.
Well, but I heard it in 2012. That was malarkey.
Yes.
Year. I heard, and so this is what I liken it to. I heard in preseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
In preseason, you're feeling good about yourself, right? Everybody does. Everybody's like, okay, we got positive vibes, everything's good. But then the switch goes next week to the regular season, and things get tight, like a vacuum bag. Like, we need to win. Now it's time to win. We're in the business of winning. Like, it's on. It's game time.
Yeah.
And whether maybe you have injuries, maybe you have concerns, maybe you're like, oh, crap, here we go. Uh-oh, this doesn't look good, all those things. I kind of heard that year, things went from being, all right, we feel good, to tight, uh-oh, not feel good. And then, the result was 2-14. Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Okay.
But I just think, does it happen in buildings in the NFL where all of a sudden you turn from, okay, we're working towards something that's in the distance and we feel good and everybody feels good and this is part of the process, to, okay, now it's go time. And go time is all business, and you can almost sense the whole building is like that. Does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, like, when you talk about, like, tighten up or whatever, man, like, well, we had Joe Cohen as a coach, so, like, every single day it was like that, even in training camp. But I think from the team perspective, yeah, man, I'm trying to think back to that 2012 year, if that's kind of how I felt about it.
And it might be an unfair way to label it, but it's just like everything tenses up. Like, is there tension? Like, next week, will there be a different feel, a different vibe, a different buzz? Will there be tension?
Well,
kind of again, your job's based on wins and losses.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It's results oriented. So there's got to be a little worry about that at times.
So the way that's a good point then. So, like, the way we felt about it, and there was a lot of pressure because we're coming off a season prior where it wasn't pretty. That was when Coach Del Rio got fired and they brought in Malarkey. And it was funny, like, we used to always tell ourselves in the locker room, and I remember these team-only meetings, these player-only meetings. The thought is that if we don't win, we're all going to be gone. And if we do win, then we'll all have jobs. And that was the way we approached it. It was like, if we don't win games, then everybody in here, excluding maybe 5 or 6 guys, will stay. But everybody else, we're going to be looking for new jobs. So there was definitely pressure to win. But it wasn't like I felt like, I don't know. It's so long ago, Brent, so it's hard to remember exactly like what I was thinking during that season. But I think there's a lot of optimism, But I think once we started sliding a little bit and like it started just to snowball, kind of like what you saw last year a little bit, then it got to the point where it's just like, let's just get through the season. Like all of a sudden people stopped caring, like, well, we got to win these games to, to save our jobs. Now it's just like, man, just get us through the season.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, I think, with a lot of teams.
Well, you said it. I mean, and I also heard something else about that year. Now, again, this was in hindsight, and so everybody's got opinions in hindsight. But the fact that there was a little bit of a, first of all, if you go back to what Shad Khan said that year, he fired Gene Smith the next year and Malarkey because Gene Smith and Malarkey kind of sold him on the fact that they could win. They felt they could win. They were ready to win.
Yeah.
And then they go 2-14. And that's why I think if you go back to the press conference, I'm pretty sure Shad Khan basically said that. Like they told us we could win, and we didn't win. So we changed things up.
But at the same time, they've also said it is built, and it wasn't really built.
No, and I got fired the next year.
No, it wasn't that.
That was different. That was the year prior.
Yeah, that was the year after.
It was the year after he got fired. Yeah. And that was a little bit.
Well, I'm just saying. I
think this was more Gene Smith and Malarkey had sold to the owner, not in public.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying to the owner.
Gotcha.
And said, we feel like we can win. We've got the roster to win.
Sure.
Now, I also heard there is a little bit of an X factor. hanging over that stadium like a black cloud. And that was the year Tebow went to the Jets.
Yeah.
Right? He was coming to Jacksonville or the Jets.
Yeah.
And there wasn't this hard play for Tebow around here. There was a soft play for Tebow. But
I didn't know there was a soft play.
There was, Tebow had a choice. I mean, Jags were in play. I heard that because there was like this just cloud of we better win because we can win without Tebow type of thing.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how true it is.
Well, once again, I was on the defensive side of the ball.
You wouldn't know that in the building.
I wouldn't know.
I'm just saying, there have been people that said that after the fact, coaches that were there after the fact or assistants that they kind of felt that. Mm-hmm. You know, it was kind of felt like, well, that was the year the whole Tebow thing went down and again for the second time, really, kind of the 2010 and 2012. So it's pretty wild. My whole point of this is, it does change. The temperature changes. This is a win-win-win business. Yeah. And you can feel it and sense it sometimes in a building. It's really my whole point. And you've been in various buildings.
And I think, Coach Mularkey, I think he was always like an old school type of coach. And I respected that about him. I think his coaching style fit more of what I was about as a player. I don't need a head coach to be like my best friend. I just need a head coach to hold me accountable and, to try to chew me out if I get out of line. And that's kind of what Mularkey was. I respected him for that. I think when you deal with coaches who are former players, I think it also kind of adds maybe a little extra pressure to them of how to respond, because you think about it, they've been in those locker rooms possibly where they haven't won games, so they can kind of relate a little more, I think, to players like, as opposed to maybe like a Bill Belichick or something like that, where I think he takes all emotion out of it. It's like, we're not good right now, we need to win, yada, yada, yada. But I think once you start having that player perspective of being a former player, now a head coach or whatever, a coaching member on that staff, I think you can bring a little more emotion to it, which can be beneficial or it can kind of hurt you a little bit depending how you look at it.
All right. What I wanted to get into, and I don't want to let this go by, is you've been on the other side this week where the bubble busts and you don't know if you're going to have a job. Take us through an experience, whether it was Chicago or Kansas City, whatever it was like, being a guy that was on the bubble this week, knowing you got one more chance to make an impression, even though they might already have their minds made up.
So in Chicago, because it's the closest one, it's the nearest one. So with Chicago, we're going into preseason game number 4 against the Cleveland Browns, and it was between me and 2 other defensive ends that were going to make the team. So 2 of those guys, including myself, would make the team. One guy's going to be probably, the odd man out. And I remember going into that game, it was only 3 defensive ends that suited up. So literally we played the entire game with 3 defensive ends rotating in and out, in and out. So I was dog tired. But that whole preparation week, it was kind of weird. And this happens with every team, I feel like I've talked about a little bit, where we didn't study for the Cleveland Browns. All right. Like the coaching staff was on to, week 1, which I forgot who the opponent even was at the time. So like we had to take it upon ourselves to kind of watch film by ourselves. So it'd be like the guys that were on the roster bubble would be like in this team meeting by like we had to bring up, and we had to go through like, all right, well, here's Johnny Manziel. Here's who likes to step up. And like, we're kind of running this whole meeting.
That kind of sucks.
Well, and like, every week you get a scouting report. Obviously, for preseason game number 4, you get your scouting reports, and the scouting reports basically say,
here's your roster of the other team.
Well, exactly. I mean, because usually the scouting reports are super detailed. Like, this right tackle, he bites on, like moves and stuff. Like, so run like a text, like a exit game or text game against them. You can use games and stuff like that to get to the tackle. This tackle oversets too much. Work inside moves. Nothing to go off of there. Nothing to go off of there. So what we had at our disposal was a couple assistant coaches that would come to like a meeting with us, kind of tell you what they saw, and then we're kind of we're on our own from there. So we're almost like, it was weird. Like we were still part of the team, but you don't really feel part of the team, because when we're doing that, the other guys are prepping for week 1. Like they're in a different meeting, watching different film, getting different scouting reports, prepping for week 1. So it's a weird dynamic, and I'm not sure if every team does that. That's what we did when I played for the Chicago Bears that year. But, You know, and it's funny, like I said, like I had so much fun that last preseason game. I talked about me and Evan Britton were captains and everything like that.
That's right.
And that was a really cool experience. Playing in Cleveland, you know, with Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football. So there's a lot of hype around him. The crowd was actually pretty good for preseason game number 4. I got a lot of playing time. So at the time when I'm on the field, you know, I'm not thinking about I need to make this play, I need to make the team. No, because I was having so much fun. I wasn't worried about tomorrow. And then, you know, when tomorrow comes, you don't get a lot of sleep, obviously, that next morning and everything. And you just try to go about your day the best as possible. And then you wait for a phone call. If you get it, you get it. And if you don't, good, you made the team. And unfortunately, that phone call.
Yeah. Well, and you've told us, and if you don't mind, I want you to bring up that story again later in the week.
Okay.
Later in the week, because there'll be a bridge day between the last preseason game and cuts. And I think it's a good story worth telling. You told it at the outset of the when, really early on. I think it was back in
earlier in the
maybe
show.
January, February, when we were doing it. Well, now we got millions of people.
Of course.
That have heard about our station.
So go ahead and
you got to share it
rehash
again.
that one, okay?
But that will come up a little bit later in the week.
Cool.
Tough time, though.
It is.
But, you know, what you just said also speaks to, do we really need a 4th preseason game from a logistic point of view? Because, that's the way I look at it is like, that stinks, man. I mean, you're not even getting attention. But what you just said is it was still fun. You get to put more stuff on tape, go try to make plays. There's value in it. I know the fans think there's no value in that game. There's value in it. In fact, it's covering the Jags over the last dozen years has been one of my fun weeks because I think you get to tell some pretty cool stories sometimes coming out of that game. So I think there is something to it, even though it's about to go away in the next CBA.
And exactly.
Most likely.
And I guarantee, I mean, listen, I'm sure a lot of people may not watch preseason game number 4 against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to watch it because I want to see the memories. I want to see the smiles because there's going to be some plays in that field, Brent, that those players may not make the team, but they can tell their grandkids for the rest of their lives, and that's what matters to me.
Why the QB position is so different next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The final Jags preseason game is this Thursday at 7 p.m. at TIAA Bank Field. They're also going to celebrate the 25th season of the Jags by throwing a party, 90s style, with music from the 90s and a fan pack that includes a shirt, a slap bracelet, and more. Meanwhile, Andrew Luck's sudden retirement still reverberates throughout the league, especially here in the AFC South. This is Jags superstar Calais Campbell with his thoughts on Andrew Luck.
I got to know him pretty well from like the NFLPA meetings and Pro Bowls and stuff over the years, and I have a lot of respect for him. I know he loves the game. I know this is a tough decision for him. I mean, it just, this game is very demanding on you, both physically and mentally. So, I mean, I get it. It's tough, I mean, you can go with like Telford Smith, it's the same kind of concept.
Finally, tonight is the last regular season home game of the Jumbo Shrimp. They take on the Mobile Bay Bears. First pitch is at 7. Playoff packages are available right now. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
I've said to people, I've said on air, I think the next 5 to 8 years will decide if Jacksonville wants to be Birmingham or if they want to be Charlotte.
Shortly after Shotcon took over ownership and said, I want to redevelop the shipyards. The reason he wants to do that is a vibrant downtown, a vibrant sports complex, according to Khan, is something that the team needs to stay viable and sustainable financially. So the shipyards have really kind of started and stopped, but what we have now is one part of that.
Action Sports Jax, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
You're shrimp in a bag. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by Community First with tickets starting at just $5 is home this weekend. The weekend of boom. Today at 4:30, it's a Baptist Health Sunday Family Fun Day and a fan appreciation doubleheader with fireworks presented by 1-to-1 Financial. Tomorrow is ViStar Charity begins at home and the regular season wraps up on Jet Home Loans and Florida Realty and Mortgage Military Appreciation Night. On Tuesday, call 358-284 or jackshrimp.com. Affordable family fun.
Hey, fantasy footballers, this is Brent Martineau. Pizza, wings, and ice-cold drafts at your upcoming draft. Let's make it happen. Host your party at Renna's in Neptune Beach, the newest of 5 locations in the area. Specials available for your draft party, plus Wi-Fi and televisions. Pick the players with the fastest 40 times at Renna's Pizza, family-owned for more than 40 years. Want a fresh one? Then get to Renna's Pizza in Neptune Beach for your fantasy football draft party. And tell them ESPN 690 sent you.
Help save lives from heart disease and stroke. Join the American Heart Association at Metropolitan Park on Saturday, September 21st for the First Coast Heart Walk. Visit firstcoastheartwalk.org.
The First Coast Heart Walk is sponsored by Main Street America Group, Mayo Clinic, and Florida Blue.
Action News Jacks this morning. Now, the most watched local morning news. Because when you need to know right now, we're live on the scene from the beaches to downtown to St. Johns County. Meteorologist Garrett Beatonball with a detailed local forecast you can't get on your phone. And traffic expert Derek Odom. He's an advisor for the Department of Transportation, warning you first about backups before you ever leave the house. Action News Jacks this morning. Now, the most watched local morning news.
Football season is back. Almost. As we, the fans, anticipate the new season, Tailgaters Parking invites you to come experience the best tailgating at TIAA Bank Field. Tailgaters Parkers know that if you've never experienced Tailgaters Parking, you've never experienced tailgating at all. Tailgaters is on Talleyrand Avenue, right across from TIAA Bank Field. It's safe and secure with clean, permanent restrooms and a full-service bar and grill. Reserve your individual or group spaces now at tailgatorsparking.com.
That's the crossroads.
So then you would have Jerry Jones basically saying we're not paying market value for what this guy would be worth.
He just came out and said you can win a Super Bowl without winning a rushing title.
Go Lick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back here. In a couple minutes, we're going to have Charlie Ward, former Florida State great. You remember Charlie in the how do you remember Charlie Ward? If I say the name Charlie Ward, do you remember him at all for the Knicks?
From the who?
The Knicks?
No.
You don't?
I know. I remember him from Florida State.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kuz? You're too young.
Too young, yeah.
Gosh, he's not that old. I mean, you're young.
Neither are we.
I know. I'm just saying. I don't know how. I guess I haven't looked up how old Charlie Ward would be now. Early 90s. Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Let's see here.
That's interesting.
Like,
I think most people remember him as Florida State too. He's 48. Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually older than I thought he was.
So
looks great. Maybe that's why.
When you hear the name Charlie Ward, do you go to the Knicks or do you go to Florida State right away?
Well, here's what the reason I asked the question is growing up where I grew up, like I wasn't obviously down here, so I wasn't like Florida State and Florida and Miami. Now, I always tell people this. When I grew up in New England, Florida State had a more recognizable brand, and Miami had a recognizable brand than even Florida. And now we're in this, even in the early 90s, now we're going to the, for the Gators with the Spurrier years. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I knew Florida State and Miami from the outside. Man. You know, as a very casual college football fan, but just a sports fan, way more than I knew the Gators from an outside perspective.
I mean, when I was a kid, like I had all like the University of Miami gear, man. I had it was like a Bugs Bunny and Tasmanian Devil like Miami T-shirt. Yeah, man. Like Miami was killing the game back then.
But you also have to remember Charlie Ward is around when Bo Jackson and I mean not right in the same thing, but in those years you had Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, Charlie Ward as guys that were trying to do the two-sport thing.
Yeah.
You know? And so that was very prevalent. So when you ask me that question, I actually think one of those two-sport guys, one of those guys that was talented enough to do both, more so than I think I probably wouldn't say Knicks. I'd probably say Florida State first if you had to pick one. But I think of him more as that dual-athlete guy. That's what I think about when I get Charlie Ward. Coming on in just a couple minutes, so we'll get to that. It's Florida State week here in Jacksonville as they host Boise State. Let's get a real quick call from South Beach. Gary, I want to get into the quarterback position with the Andrew Luck stuff, how it's different than other folks in other positions. That will come up in a little bit as well. But first, South Beach, Gary, what you got?
Let's make the Devil Went Down to Georgia by the Charlie Daniels Band the song of the day. Hey, guys, quickly, you were talking television yesterday. Do either of you watch Blue Bloods?
You know, I don't. I know it's a big show on CBS, but I don't watch it.
I've never seen it.
But I hear now.
They have the best-looking Sunday dinners. The show features them all having dinner on Sunday, and the food always looks so good.
Don't you have to? And I'm not trying to age you here, South Beach, Gary, but I think you have to be. If you're in like the 50+ range, you're probably locked in on that show.
Yeah.
Right?
That's okay. It's a good show.
It's not a knock, Gary. It's not a knock. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying Sesame Street. I mean,
but I'm not watching NYPD Blue either, though. All right.
I'm talking about a popular show here.
Yeah.
I just like Tom Selleck. I don't know.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the show or Tom Selleck.
Huh?
There's nothing wrong with the show or Tom Selleck. It's just a different age category is my point.
Yeah, but I just think it's a well-written, well-acted show. That's
and I think a lot of people would agree. Just going to be over 50. All right, go ahead. What you got?
I'm just anxiously waiting who's going to be the quarterback, of course, down in South Florida. Still waiting the decision, but just hoping it's Rose just to see what they've got, for the year. But did you mention, Brent, that Tiger had a procedure on his back again?
No, it was on his knee.
Oh.
He had his knee scoped out. So that's not.
I still maintain that it was PEDs that caused all this. They can say it was the hard training, Brent, and all this, and the whispers and all that. But Austin, the Bill Romanowski and Lyle Alzado, how steroids just destroyed some guys.
Yeah,
and I still believe that happened to Tiger Woods, just simply because how Barry Bonds' head got 3 times larger than it was, when he was younger. Tiger was so skinny and so scrawny when he first came out on tour.
Because he was young.
You may not remember, Austin, but Brent, you might remember. You're an old guy. How skinny Tiger was.
Absolutely. When he won the U.S. Amateur here at TPC Sawgrass, he was tiny. And so, listen, I don't know. Do I think that's plausible? Yes. Do I think it's plausible that Michael Jordan retired from basketball because of the gambling stuff? Yeah, I do. I think those are conspiracy theories to a degree, but I don't think they're far-fetched. I think there's reason for them. And but I just don't know if we'll ever know that unless there's a tell-all book or something that comes out, and I don't think we're going to see it. So I do think it's probably a little bit different than maybe the baseball steroid era. And even from Tiger's perspective, I think you have to notice now, even Brooks Koepka's been injured a little bit. Rory McIlroy's a weightlifter. He's been injured a little bit. I think there's evidence that guys that you would not link to that kind of stuff, that they do like to lift weights, still can get injured. And it's just a sport that you need to be flexible and lengthen and strengthen rather than get bulky for the most part. I've always felt that way about baseball, too, and we're seeing a little bit of a change there. So I that's why I go back and forth on it. And the PGA Tour and all that kind of stuff can be very quiet on that front. They don't have to release the details, or people don't find out some of the details, I think, suspensions or whatever it might be that other sports do. And I don't think we'll ever know unless we get a tell-all book.
PED scandal, though, right? That was the gambling only, right? That wasn't.
What's that?
That's related to PEDs, right?
What is?
Michael Jordan, that was nothing related to PEDs, though.
No.
Right?
Michael Jordan was, people have speculated that Jordan retired and got into the baseball stuff because of the gambling. That's the conspiracy theory out there.
I always thought it was weird the way his father was murdered on the side of the street, and supposedly there was a gambler, someone involved in gambling. They did that. I don't know. That was kind of all swept under the rug. But one question quickly.
Hey, quick. We got Charlie Ward coming up. I got to get running.
Austin, did you always room together as position players? Is that always done on every team still, like it used to be?
Just in training camp, right?
Run together.
Room together.
Oh, room together. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, but
in training camp only.
It's only in training camp. Usually, if you're kind of vetted, you have like 3 or 4 years in, then you get your own room. But I'm sure every team does it differently.
All right, man. Thanks. Have a good day. South Beach Gary on the way. Charlie Ward on the way. Coming up next here on ESPN 690, former Florida State great.
It's Golick and Wingo.
Timmy Kirkchin, our fine Major League Baseball analyst. Aaron Boone, he talked about it, maybe a mercy rule at some point.
It makes a little bit of sense now. But I'm worried where we are right now that there are so many blowouts. That's just not healthy for the game. So I know what Boone's talking about here. I don't think it'll get any traction, but I guarantee you somebody's going to ask that question within the Major League Baseball offices.
Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Get all the perks with the Planet Fitness Black Card for just $1 down. That means every time you thought,
I don't have the motivation to work out,
you could bring a friend. Or,
I really need a massage.
You could get one. And you could work out at any Planet Fitness worldwide.
Ooh, a Planet Fitness.
Just $1 down and $21.99 a month to get all the perks. Join in club or at planetfitness.com.
Regularly $59 to join. Hurry, $1 down ends August 27th.
Annual membership fee applies. Participating locations only. See club for details.
If you're looking to propose or just looking to get her something to show her how much you love her,
then you're in luck.
Right now at Beard's Jewelry, take advantage of 5 years 0 interest financing.
Yes, 5 years, 0 interest financing. You'll already get the rock bottom prices Beards is known for, but now you get to spread your payments out over 60 months.
How about a $6,000 Tacori or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month.
Or a pair of diamond studs for $1,500, you pay just $25 a month. It's the best deal of the summer. Get her that piece of jewelry she's been dreaming about and spread your payments out over 60 months. But it's only happening at Beard's Jewelry during August.
Beard's Jewelry, where exceptional is affordable.
Located at the St. John's Town Center. Or visit beardsdiamonds.com for more details. See the difference. Save thousands.
Really thinking that he might go to the Clippers just because we weren't hearing anything about the Clippers, and real G's move in silence, and Kawhi Leonard isn't G.
Put it on the poll, do real G's move in silence?
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and on your smart speaker.
All right, we got Florida State and Boise State coming up on Saturday night in Jacksonville at TIAA Bank. Should be a lot of fun, right?
Let's do it.
I got you a credential if you want to go.
Well, we're not going to do the show from there, though, right?
No, it's Saturday.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the Thursday night game. Yeah, the Jags game. The Saturday game. I wonder how that's going to... I mean, it's not going to be solid, obviously, but
in fact,
but a pretty good turnout, or we kind of.
I think it's a little light right now from what I hear.
Okay.
So I'm interested to see if it picks up because listen, bottom line is I get last year for Florida State, but there should be the first game of 2019.
Sure.
And I think Boise State's kind of fun to watch. I know it's not Alabama, Clemson, one of those things, but I think Boise State's been kind of fun.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what happens at the gate at TIAA and really interested to see what happens on the field, right? I mean, it should be pretty wild to watch what team shows up for Florida State. And this is such a big game for them. And you normally would be like, wow, I mean, this is a no-brainer, Florida State, Boise State. But the way things went last year, you really just don't know what's going to be the case.
Speaking of credentials, real quick, did you get Kuz and I credentials for the Falcons game?
Yeah, you have them for the year.
Oh, okay, because we only get – okay, got you.
You just got to get them from me.
Okay.
I deliver.
Were you going to give them? Were you going to give us them, or what?
Maybe before Thursday? Okay, I do that on Wednesday nights.
Okay, gotcha.
He's questioning.
How am I questioning?
My logistical skills here.
Hey, just asking simple questions, man. Just making sure we're all covered, Brent.
All right.
I mean, did you turn up your cell phone, or are we going to let that thing roll out all day again?
Well, listen.
Speaking of logistics, how many days in a row are we going to go with that cell phone?
Let's turn the questions to Charlie Ward. How about that?
Let's do it.
Because he has all the answers for us. Brent Martineau here in Jacksonville with former Jags player Austin Lane. Florida State has a big game Saturday. Charlie Ward will be signing autographs at Palm Beach Autographs at the Avenue Mall from 12 to 2. On Saturday afternoon for Knowles fans and any fans. Charlie Ward, welcome to ESPN 690, man. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Great.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
Hey, great to catch up with you. I want to ask you your thoughts on this game on Saturday because I was in Tallahassee a week and a half ago. I think there's excitement about it, but there's also, from the fan base, I kind of gauge there's a little cautious optimism because nobody really knows what to expect after Florida State threw us all for a loop a year ago.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed from Coach Taggart and all the things that he said and mentioned is, last year was last year, and they have a full year really under their belt of all the things that they wanted to do in the off season, and the guys are starting to buy in. And so, as far as the talent we have talent there, but now I think there's more buy-in to what it's going to take to be successful long term. With the family environment and also, guys understanding the system. Coach Barnett last year was here for, half a spring and, a season, a part of a season, a summer. And the first game was, really not indicative of what they're capable of doing from a talent standpoint, but there was other factors that went into the performance last year as well. But, I'm looking forward to them at least, coming out and playing well. And, they've had a good preseason. From my understanding, I've been to a couple of practices, and hopefully, there is a difference from the first game that we had last year to this year.
Florida State great Charlie Ward with us on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hey, what is it about Taggart that's kind of magnetic for young men? He does a great job recruiting. When I was there last year before the season started. This year, they love the guy. I mean, forget about the wins and losses. The love for their head coach, I don't think has changed. They really like him. What is it about it? You've been around a lot of coaches. You've been around college and NFL and NBA. What is it about him that makes him so attractive for recruits and everyone else?
Well, the first thing is, he's real with the kids and tell them, kind of what they, the truth about playing time and about their situation, and making them feel loved. I think that's a big part in recruiting in general. But the other part is he surrounded himself with great coaches. Coaches that do a great job of recruiting, but more importantly, he's built the family atmosphere. The way Coach Bowden did it, when it comes down to the family, being able to come to practice, and also, family taking the kids or the players out to their coaches' homes, which stuff that we used to do, just so we connect, off the field, which is very, very important to the success of a team. So I think it's just, that whole factor of just feeling included and feeling the love from the coaching staff. And I think a lot of coaches do that, but, when it comes to Florida State, there's a certain type of vibe and atmosphere you want to build around, which, Coach Bowden started.
Charlie Ward with us, former Florida State great, always a Florida State great, but from 1990 to 1994, and then, of course, played for the New York Knicks for quite some time before stopping in San Antonio and Houston of the NBA. Before you came on, Charlie, we were talking a little bit about, at your time, Bo Jackson, who just visited Jacksonville a couple weeks ago, yourself, Deion Sanders, not right next to each other, but all within a few years of each other from a dual sports star perspective. That was all the talk back then. Educate these young guys. It was all the talk back in the early 90s about how good you were at football and basketball and which one would you choose. And I bet some of these young guys, they have to now Google you, YouTube you, and try to figure that out. Not that you're old or anything, but they got to remember the great Charlie Ward sometimes.
There's a lot of people that, I come across and they feel bad about not knowing who I am. Well, I don't know who they are, so it doesn't matter. But, Google is good, for everyone. Even the kids I coach, some of the kids I coach, they Google me to see, if they heard or, the parents may know me, but the kids really don't because they weren't even born during my time. So it's, it's always something that I don't get too shaken up about because it is what it is. And if someone asks me, I'll tell them, but if not, they won't know.
Yeah, well, not too many people don't know. I can guarantee you that. The resume is unbelievable. Austin has a question for you here.
Hey there, Charlie. This is Austin Lane. So you obviously played basketball. You played football. You're also a pretty big baseball player as well growing up. If you kind of look at the kids now, I think their parents try to push them into specialization. Like they don't want to only play one sport. You have 3 kids yourself. I'm not sure into sports or not, but when you get your opinion about the matter, do you push your kids or the kids that you coach to play all the sports, or do you try to push them into just playing, one sport in general?
I do. I'm a multi-sport guy, so I do as much as I can to help guys understand the value of playing multiple sports. And, you know, some guys, you know, are capable of doing it from an athletic standpoint and should do it because it's just if you're a specialized guy, at some point in time you may get tired of it. And so I try to encourage the kids, if they're capable of playing multiple sports, to play multiple sports. But, you know, I coach basketball now, and I have kids that probably should be playing, you know, other sports, but they choose not to because for whatever reason, the parents don't want them, mainly because of football, you know, the concussions and these types of things. And so they don't choose to play. But, you know, if a kid is behind as far as development is concerned, you know, I also encourage those guys to, you know, just continue to work on and focus on one sport if they're, you know, behind. But one of the toughest things is just kids understanding that not everyone's going to go to college to play, you know, sports. You know, that's for a small group. And so in high school, you should enjoy your experience. And if you're capable of playing multiple sports, then make it happen because it's maybe the only time you play after high school. And so I just like encouraging kids just to enjoy high school. If you want to play, you know, multiple sports, then do it. If you want to focus on one sport, then do that. But don't have the expectation that if I focus on one sport, that it's going to give me an opportunity to go to college, because that's, you know, fool's gold.
Yeah, very well said and good message. We got to let you go, and I know you have to run, too. We appreciate you taking time. Let me ask you this one last question. If I line up 100 people that are meeting Charlie Ward and getting your autograph, do they remember you as Florida State quarterback or New York Knicks basketball player?
Well, if I'm in Jacksonville, which I will be, at the Palm Beach Autograph store at Avenues Mall, then it'll be Florida State. If I was in New York, it'd be totally different.
Yeah, cool. That's good perspective for everybody down here, too. You'll be at the Palm Beach Autograph Store, the Avenues Mall, noon to 2 on Saturday, and then hopefully we'll see you Saturday night at the football game, Florida State and Boise State. Great to catch up with you, Charlie Ward. We'll see you this weekend.
All right. Thank you, guys, for having me on.
You bet. Charlie Ward, the great Charlie Ward. And they should retire his number with the New York Knicks the way the Knicks have been. He went to the 1999 NBA Finals with the Knicks.
Exactly. I haven't had that in a long time.
It's been a long time for the Knicks.
Yeah.
And we'll be back, talk more about that, Florida State, and back to the NFL coming up next.
Lowe's helps pros like you do the job right by having more of what you need in stock, and it's savings you can count on every day. Like Valspar 2000 Paint Plus Primer starting at just $19.98 a gallon. And whether you're updating properties or building new homes, get up to 40% off select appliance special values with 4-piece kitchen suites as low as $1,160. For your next job and every job after, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Appliance offer valid through September 11th. U.S. only.
School's back in session, which means your ride better be ready. At AutoZone, we've got the Duralast batteries you need to drive with peace of mind. They're proven tough, even in the most extreme conditions. That's because they're designed to improve performance and provide your ride with a powerful startup. And they're available only at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Visit us at AutoZone.com and start the job fast with free same-day in-store pickup. Based on data from the NPD Group Incorporated, car care tracked 12 months ending December 2018.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
I'm Chris Lisi. This just in. Eagles receiver Deshaun Jackson suffered a broken ring finger during today's practice. It is not expected, though, to keep him out of the season opener. Panthers coach Ron Rivera adamant that quarterback Cam Newton will be ready for Week 1 against the Rams. Newton's got a sprained foot. Former Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski overcome with emotion today as he described his decision to retire from football at the age of 29 because of an accumulation of injuries suffered throughout his career.
I needed to recover. I was not in a good place. Football was bringing me down, and I didn't like it. And I was losing that joy in life. And I knew what I signed up for, and I knew what I was fighting through. And I knew I just have to fix myself.
Rob Gronkowski, he did leave the door open to possibly unretire, said physically he could play right now, but he's not there mentally. The Cubs will be without first baseman Anthony Rizzo tonight against the Mets because of a tight back. Chicago's 1 game up on the Phillies and 2 on the Mets for the second NL wildcard spot.
The satisfying crunch of Nature Valley Crunchy Bars can keep your family going, which means more outside fun for you. And with whole grain oats and real delicious honey, it's really tasty too. Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bars.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back. 4 o'clock on a Tuesday. Brent Martineau, former Jags player, current MMA fighter. Austin Lane on the program. Coos is here as well, getting you set for the final preseason game. We got a college football game in Jacksonville, Florida State, Boise State. Good to have Charlie Ward on just moments ago. FSU will play Saturday night here in Jacksonville, and now we're 12 days away from the Chiefs and Jags to open the NFL regular season, which is pretty cool. We've been waiting for it, talking about it, and around here, it takes a while to get to it, it sure seems like, but here we are. And right now, we're glad to be joined by ESPN's Jason Fitz. Used to be able to hear him right after our show with Spain and Fitz, and now on with Golick and Wingo and move to the morning. First of all, how's your sleep schedule, man?
Oh, sleep is non-existent. You know, I always say I'll sleep when I'm dead, but I think that might be getting alarmingly closer given the schedule. But I'll take it all day, every day.
What is it like? How did everything go? I know you're new at this. We'll get into your background in just a minute, which is a really cool story. And actually, I want to ask you about it in relation to Andrew Luck over the weekend and his news. But what's this been like? You're kind of new to the sports broadcasting business over the last few years. What was the show at night like, and now what's it like in the morning on ESPN?
I think that, you know, you have to realize that at each time you're doing different roles. You know, when you're sitting on Spain and Fitz, we had the opportunity to sort of set up everything that was coming for the night. So a lot of the conversation is what you're about to see. And Golick and Wingo, obviously we have the first chance to react in the morning to whatever's happening. So then it becomes a lot about what we saw and being able to quickly sort of react to it and figure out why it matters and what's important about it. So very different, obvious in what you're expected to do. But the one thing for me is I've always believed strongly that at its best, sports talk, it can be a great escapism, a great entertainment, and especially in the mornings, it allows you to be sort of the big, vibrant personality I like to think that I am, and try and make people a little happier on their way to work, even if their favorite team's not doing what they want. If we can make them smile along the way, then that's a win for me.
That's pretty cool. Jason Fitz from ESPN joining us on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane here. And he'll join us weekly throughout the football season, which is pretty cool. And so we can talk a lot of ball and everything else going on. But I got to give everybody your background, and I'm sure many of them know, but if they don't, you're a fiddle player with the band Perry, which obviously is very popular country band. And I got to tell you, I love the fact that you're a fiddle player. My mom's a professional violinist, so I grew up hearing the sounds of the violin every morning while she was like giving lessons to kids. That didn't sound so good. You probably played a lot better than those little kids that were learning the violin. But you gave up the band Perry and the fiddle to talk a little sports. Give us a little insight on how that all went down.
Well, and let me say this, you know, sometimes when you play the violin, sometimes you play it, sometimes it plays you. So I'm not sure I always play better than the little kids. But yeah, I mean, I started playing the violin when I was 4, and by the time I was 8, I was practicing 8 hours a day. By the time I was 10, I'd got to Carnegie Hall or gotten into Juilliard and played Carnegie Hall like I was a little classical music kid. Turned fiddle player, and you know, I was lucky to get to live out most of my dreams. But The craziest thing is that after all the years of grinding and trying to get great at what I was doing, I woke up one day in our busiest year with the band, and I realized we've been on the road 300 days. And I sat down with my wife at the end of the year, and I said, man, 300 days in 1 year, I'm lucky to do it. I'm thankful to do it. I appreciate it, but I don't love it anymore. And she said, if I asked 100 of your friends what you really love, what would the answer be? And I said, sports, flippantly. And she said, all right, we'll find a way to talk about sports. So that's honestly what I did. I took all my violin recording software and microphones, and I sat in my car because I felt like an idiot. And I put a 10-minute podcast up on Facebook for my friends, and it was like a drug for me. It was a rush I'd been missing in my life, and so I ripped it apart, wrote a business plan, started networking, and then just started trying to get better every single day. And I'm lucky. Actually, crazy enough, this is ironic timing. 3 years ago today was my last ever show with the band Perry, the Alaska State Fair. And to think that in 3 years then, I mean, I built a podcast and was able to jump to ESPN. But when I made that jump, they offered me a college football TV show that very few people watched on ESPNU. And the deal was they could fire me after one show, or I could work my way in and see how it goes. So I quit the band with no idea how I was going to pay the bills or what we were going to do. But I knew that if ESPN gave me that shot, I was going to take it after years of grinding on a podcast trying to make it. So to think that in 3 years I've gone from then to today, I could go with the window and got the chance to host Outside the Line. So, it's been a crazy ride.
That's really awesome. Jason Fitz with us from ESPN. I'm a big country guy too, by the way. So I loved your work and loved your stuff with the band Perry. But it's pretty wild. And I know in that business plan that it certainly had to be appearance on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690 with Brent and Austin. So you can check that box off your list. That's
done
good.
And done. There we go. Woo!
You brought up you fell out of love with it. And am I okay to compare that with Andrew Luck and what happened Saturday night? And just to give you a little background, Austin Lane, my co-host, who will ask you a question in a moment or two once I'm done hogging the microphone. He played in the NFL for 5 years, and we talked about this yesterday. Fell out of love with the game because of the business side of it and all these other things. Now he's an MMA fighter. But like for us average people, it's like, how do you fall out of love with something? And I don't think we all capture that and grab that. But is there something relative to your story and maybe even Andrew Luck's story?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think that the hardest part when you're talking about a dream job is when you're talking about a job anybody wants, you lose the right to complain about it. And that just sort of is the way the world goes. But ultimately for me, I remember every single night before I would go on stage, I would text my wife and I'd say, time to make the donuts, which is an old Dunkin' Donuts commercial. And then after the show, as I was walking on stage, I grabbed my phone, I take it out of airplane mode, and I text her money earned. And it wasn't because I wasn't thankful for it. Again, it was just because at some point the passion left. And it became about execution and perfection, but it never became about a rush. And, those are the things I think when you look at Andrew Luck, as much as we're all looking at it saying, but dude, you're rich and you play football, who cares? Ultimately, like the fact that you've made a ton of money to go out and do a job, a dream job, doesn't mean that you're not a human being. And if you've lost the passion, especially the NFL, where small differences make huge differences on the field, the level of love when you walk onto the practice field, the level of love when you walk into the practice facility, I believe that matters. The level of passion and sort of investment that you have, I believe that matters to the player that you become. And we see it all the time when we question players' work ethic. We're just not used to seeing it from superstars. But just because you're a superstar doesn't mean you're a human being. And Andrew Luck would be lesser of a quarterback if he tried to continually fake the level of investment. I think it's an under-talked about part of him walking away that I respect the hell out of.
What's up, Jason? This is finally Austin Lane, man. How you doing?
I'm great, Austin.
So I have to ask you, you're classically trained. You went to the Juilliard School, which is a huge accomplishment in itself. What was it like being, that classically trained guy and then almost going into a different genre with country music? I mean, was there some kind of falling out like in those circles that you grew up in playing the classical music and now going to country music? I mean, do those circles kind of run together, or did people kind of look down on you a little bit for doing that?
The funny thing is 20 years ago they didn't run together. I moved to Nashville 20 years ago, and it was funny because there was a perception that you were either a violinist or you were a fiddle player, which is a little like, hey, you're in the NFL and you're only allowed to play this one position. What's happened, though, in what I always call like an America's Got Talent age, is that people have sort of realized that versatility is key, and and I think that ultimately that lets people be more of themselves stylistically. So it's funny how many fiddle players you'll see, or like I always like a great example is that a buddy of mine has been playing for years for Brantley Gilbert, who's this hard rock sort of country artist, but my buddy got his master's in acoustic guitar, performance classically, and toured Spain playing flamenco music for years. So it's amazing how the music business is in the last few years, in the last, let's say, 10 years, has really opened up to talent wins. And so if you're able to get out there and do the job, then that's all that matters. So and I think that's part of why the other side of it is part of why my walk over to sports has been so well received, is because ultimately athletes get that too. Success at the highest level in anything, whether it's creative or athletic, is about the sacrifice you put into it and what you did that everybody else wasn't willing to do, and how much you were able to grind, and then just being in the right place at the right time and get a little lucky. And I think that's why there's been so much mutual respect as I've come out of that into broadcasting and been able to work with so many athletes, is that grind respects grind.
So I've been to Nashville a couple of times, and the one thing that I've garnered from visiting is that it is a very cutthroat city, especially people trying to make it in the business. It seemed like everybody I talked to said, yeah, I'm trying to make it in the business, Well, you made it in the business, and I think you're one of the rare outliers that actually did get to play in a pretty successful country band. So, like, when you take that kind of attitude and go to sports radio, I mean, was it almost refreshing to know that, listen, I made it in country music. That's almost harder, I would probably say, than to make it in sports broadcasting and things like that. I mean,
hey, wait a minute.
Well, hey, I didn't have to go to college. I mean, I play football around here.
That's because you've never done this before, and I just called you up and said you want to do this.
But I'm saying,
you thought it was that easy for me? Been wanting to do this since I was 12.
Sorry.
I think for me, no, I get you. I get what you're saying. Yeah. I think there becomes sort of the one thing I learned about the music business is the music business is relationship based. And, a great example, one of my best friends is a guy named Derek Wells, and Derek just won a bunch of country music and Academy of Country Music Awards as the guitar player of the year because he's played on so many records. And if you listen to country music on the radio, Derek Wells is the guitar player on it, whether it's the new Dan and Shay song or, whether it's anything. He's on that recording. And the funny thing is I remember Derek years ago when he would be going out to get coffee or a drink with people, and, he was looking at his wallet saying, I don't have any room left on any credit cards. It's a city, Nashville is a city where you put yourself out there and you get people to invest in you as a person. And once they've invested in you as a person, they will believe in your skill set as a musician. And it takes time. And I think that's actually what was eye-opening for me, because that transfers to most business. I think, when I talk to people that are great, whether they're great at sales or whether they're great at software engineering or whether they're great at sports broadcasting, like in today's world, if you can get out there and get people to invest in you as a person, they're going to then invest in what you have to say. And then that's the biggest crossover from the two, is that I knew one thing, and that's it. I was going to be willing to work harder than anybody, do anything that was asked of me, take the coaching. These are all things that happen to classical musicians. You take the coaching you're given and you try and apply it, all of these things, and then can you get people to buy into you as a person? And that's where I had the confidence, I think, coming out of the music business, because I knew that I was patient enough to let that happen.
Fantastic. So before I give the reins back to Brent here, usually I like to talk about either style, wrestling, or food. Well, it's Nashville, so I'm talking about food real quick. Best hot chicken place in Nashville. Is it Hattie B's? Because I've been there. I have to know.
Yeah. It is Hattie B's.
Okay,
it is Hattie B's, but I'll give you a little secret. This is a little national secret.
Okay.
Hot chicken wasn't really that big a deal until suddenly everybody made it a big deal. There's a great cultural impact story about hot chicken and how it brought, the sort of urban part of Nashville together with a lot of the country music legends, way back in the day. And that's where some of the roots come from it. But realistically, like I learned, we were in France years ago. It's such a humble brag, but we were in France doing we were playing shows over there, and I went to the Eiffel Tower. And I didn't know until I went to the Eiffel Tower that was created for the World's Fair. And at the end of the World's Fair, the city looked around and thought, man, this thing's an abomination. But they couldn't afford to tear it down. So instead, they built a marketing plan, and they marketed it to the world as the icon of love and became the city of love. So, like, Paris marketed itself that way. Sure. Little secret, Nashville did the same thing with hot chicken. Like, there was a nice little campaign. When Kentucky Fried Chicken woke up one day and hot chicken was, like, everywhere, my Nashville buddies and I were looking at each other saying, really? I didn't know that was going to be the thing that defined us. So a little bit of manufacturing.
Yeah. Hey, Jacksonville's still looking for something like that. Let's make something up.
Let's do it.
Hey, by the way, Jason, first of all, sorry for yelling a minute ago. Secondly, thanks for indulging us as we introduce you to the Jacksonville fans and everybody here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. We won't bombard you with questions about your past every week here on the show because we know you want to talk sports and we want to talk sports with you. So let me ask you this before we let you run. Miami, Florida the other night, the Gators got the win. What were your thoughts coming out of that one about the direction of those two teams?
Well, I'll say one thing quickly, and that is that for everybody that complains that NFL doesn't want preseason football anymore, let's acknowledge that college football doesn't have preseason, and we saw two teams that really could have used one. We knew the offenses were going to struggle on both sides of the ball. I don't think we knew I don't think we expected Felipe Franks to look that lost at times, and that's really one of the things that stood out to me because as good as Miami's defense is and as good as Miami's defense we knew was going to be, Felipe Franks has got to play better if Florida wants to take a leap. Right now, Florida wants to put themselves in the conversation with Georgia, and it is just too early to do that. On paper, at least, Georgia is much closer to being Alabama than they are close to being Florida. And Florida needs to figure out a way to clean that up. Miami's got the same issues they had last year. They've just got issues all over the offensive side of the ball. Manny Diaz gets the head coaching job there because he did a great job on the defense. That's fine. That's all well and good. But in a moment that was supposed to be this great calling card for both teams to show the world how great Florida football as a state is continuing to become and sort of in relevance for these two programs again, I don't know that they accomplished it with that matchup. Florida, particularly, got to get a lot cleaner if they think they're a top 10 program.
Absolutely. I don't think the gap is closed that much between them and Georgia. What do you have your eyes on this Saturday in college football? We'll save the NFL talk till next week when we join you.
Well, yeah, and I love talking all of it. By the way, quick shameless plug, a new show, Countdown to Game Day, starts this Saturday, and that's me, Maria Taylor, and David Pollack at the site of Game Day. It'll be on Twitter and YouTube and on the ESPN app at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So I love the college football stuff. And I will say this weekend is all about Oregon. No offense to Auburn, but look, if the Pac-12 wants to be taken seriously this year, they've got some big names at quarterback. But Justin Herbert was that guy that, had he come out last year, would have been, in the eyes of many, the top quarterback taken. And he elected to stay instead for Oregon. He's got to prove why quickly. And I think, this is the extra pressure that comes when you're a Pac-12 school because so many of the games are late at night. People aren't watching them, like it or not, because college football highlights don't seem to resonate with people on Sunday mornings. You got to prove it on Saturdays, and this is the opportunity for Oregon to stand up to the entire country, send a message about how good the Pac-12 is or isn't going to be this year. So whatever stereotypes that we have of the Pac-12 can either be broken or personified going into this one game. That's why it means so much to Oregon out of the gate.
Yeah, very well said. It could be a trip to New York City as a Heisman candidate for Herbert. It could be a lot of money in the NFL, even in this one game, at least to kind of set the table and the narrative for the 2019 season. Jason Fitz, that was a lot of fun, man. We'll catch you on Saturday mornings, 8:30 on that countdown with Maria Taylor and David Pollack, and we'll catch you here every Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock on ESPN 690.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great week.
All right. Jason Fitz joined us from ESPN. And, of course, you can catch him in the morning, Golick and Wingo as well. He used to follow us up. Now he gets us going on ESPN 690 on a daily basis. Speaking of getting us going, what do we have coming up at 5 o'clock tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30? We will find out in just a moment if he can hang around. We're going to take a break, and then John Bachman joins us for our TV timeout. We got all sorts of guests today.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
I've said to people, I've said on air, I think the next 5 to 8 years will decide if Jacksonville wants to be Birmingham or if they want to be Charlotte.
Shortly after Shad Khan took over ownership and said, I want to redevelop the shipyards. The reason he wants to do that is a vibrant downtown, a vibrant sports complex, according to Khan, is something that the team needs to stay viable and sustainable financially. So the shipyards have really kind of started and stopped, but what we have now is one part of that.
Action Sports Jacks, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
savings on top of huge selection on top of rave customer reviews. That's how they do the National Clearance Event at Arlington Toyota. During the National Clearance Event, you can take your pick from over 1,000 new and pre-owned on Arlington's lot. I mean, come on, 1,000 vehicles. You know you're going to find what you want and save during the National Clearance Event at Arlington. Right now, during the National Clearance Event at Arlington, buy a 2019 Corolla LE from just $14,888. That's a pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE from just $14,888. Or buy a 2019 Tacoma SR5 from just $24,888. That's a pre-owned 2019 Tacoma SR5 from just $24,888. Plus, you get the Arlington Toyota $5,000 Advantage Club with your purchase. Just one of the tons of reasons why Arlington's earned 4.7 out of 5 stars and over 7,000 Google reviews. Arlington knows how to do the national clearance sale right, but you've got to get it while the getting is good. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online 24/7 at arlingtontoyota.com.
That's what sleeping with a CPAP sounds like. If you can't use CPAP, imagine pressing a button and it sounding like this. That's sleeping with Inspire. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire is a sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body with one click of a remote. That's right, just a button. If you have sleep apnea, great sleep awaits at InspireSleep.com. That's InspireSleep.com. Inspire. Sleep apnea innovation. No mask, no hose, just sleep.
Talk to your doctor to see if Inspire is right for you and review important safety information at InspireSleep.com.
Is today the day it'll finally stop raining?
We sure hope so, but it's been a very wet summer so far. This is Mike with Big Fish Roofing. Don't forget, your roof is the first line of defense against the elements. Here at Big Fish Roofing, as an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we are locally owned and we drive our business with quality and integrity. We do not require any down payments until your roof project is complete. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing. We are the roofers you can trust. We are Big Fish Roofing.
Talking to Chris Long, have you at all had any itch about playing again?
I'm not going to lie, I get the itch from time to time. If I ever got an opportunity that was right for me, and I'd look at it.
Go Lick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
We're talking about, is your wife in the Hall of Fame?
Not yet.
Does she have any chance? Let's be honest.
I mean, she might be in the Best Wives Hall of Fame.
Am I right? So nice. So nice.
Teed
up
and deep. That's fine. Go ahead and boo me. That's cool. Whatever.
What did you do wrong today?
No way.
I don't have any stories about prostitutes today, Austin.
Never had sex. Yes.
One of the finer moments on the program.
That's going to be a button. No, she played volleyball, but I don't think she's going to be in the volleyball.
She's a volleyball player?
Yeah.
Hey, dude, then let's do this. Let's go. Let's go to the beach. We get a four-man volleyball.
See,
you
we
and
had a
me
falling
and
out.
Steph?
No, we had a falling out over that exact same sport, beach volleyball. So we're in Mexico for one of my friend's weddings, and we're all there playing volleyball. And she was on my team. We picked teams and everything. Well, I'm going to pick the D3 volleyball player because from what I was told, what she said, she's pretty legit. And I don't mean to call her out here, and hopefully she's not listening. I'm making a phone call. But needless to say, she made a few mistakes. and
She's rusty.
And I may or may not have said it. I was a couple Coronas deep. I may or may not have said D3 volleyball my something. And she was not impressed with me, to say the least.
All right. Well, we'll have a three-man volleyball team.
Yeah, there we go.
You're off it. Not her, you.
No, that's fine. I'll start my own team. Me, Kuz, and whoever else wants to get in the mix.
Johnny Bachman's with us from CBS 47 and Fox 30. We just learned your wife's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, volleyball, as a matter of fact.
St. Olaf, man.
She was a D3 volleyball player. They played for the NCAA championship, and she was quite an athlete.
We all married volleyball players?
I guess so. We all married up, too, for sure.
I just broke out the jersey. This is her college jersey. I don't even know if people can see it. It's on the floor. I can't hang it up. But
Yep.
Well, hold it up at least.
I'll have to hold it up. That's heavy, no.
Was she an attacker, or I don't know what you
she
call
was
her.
setter.
Sorry.
You ever seen her?
Yeah.
She was on defense.
I would have guessed setter.
Yeah, setter. There's no defense.
Well, yeah, she could have been setter, but from her height, she's defense.
Okay,
specialist.
Gotcha.
The
A back row
libero
specialist.
Oh, the libero?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if they've changed the libero rules since then.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Everybody's looking at me. I don't know.
But she was a defensive specialist.
Cool.
But anyway, she's going into her high school Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Still impressive?
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying it. Just say that's where she's going. Just that's the distinction coming up on Thursday night. So figured we'd honor. We just took it out of the wrapping.
Yeah.
We found it up in the closet because she actually has to go back and find things like I said the other day, artifacts or whatever from the high school days. So she's going through all these boxes but this thing I just unwrapped here in the studio hadn't been out since 2008 when we moved from Albany to here.
and
it's
we can't
amazing
even
the
hang it
stuff
up.
you compile, isn't it?
It really is.
But anyway, so that's going to be cool. So that if I give Steph a lot of love here on the program, I don't have to get her anything, right? Like, do you get somebody something for the Hall of Fame?
That's not how that works.
Well, I don't know. Do you?
I don't know. What do you get?
Well,
I don't want to say.
I have mine coming up, so this is what I want to happen. I wanted you to get her something. I can be like, well, Brent got his wife something for her Hall of Fame. Where's my stuff
that's
for
true.
my Murray State
But,
stuff?
like, seriously, what do you get somebody for the Hall of Fame? I mean, they're getting something. They're going into the Hall of Fame.
Let me just tell you,
Probably
I
like a
went to
Twitter
the
blue
event.
check mark? Yeah.
I went to the event.
Well,
I don't know that I got anything for her. I should have
I'm
probably.
missing a Jags game, high school football, and something else. I feel like I'm sacrificing quite a bit here.
I think she should probably be verified on Twitter. That's about it, though, right?
I don't know if she wants to be.
Okay. Yeah, you're not missing much stuff.
All right. John Bachman's going to go
All
to
right,
work.
guys. Yeah, I do.
What do you got coming up tonight?
Well, there's this little thing out in the Atlantic. You guys may have heard about it. It's tropical storm
Tell us about the
Dorian.
newsroom right now. They all tense?
Oh, yeah.
See,
Brett was trying to describe this whole newsroom thing. I think I have to come down and see what's going on.
Come on down. It's nothing right now. This is nothing compared to where it's going to be in a few days. So okay. So you know Mike Burrish, he's the chief of Jacksonville.
He's the man.
This is the guy. He lives and breathes this stuff.
Best weather guy I've ever worked with.
Hands
That's
down.
20 years.
Hands down. Guy
compliment.
knows his stuff. He really does. So he says that by tomorrow or Thursday, I think I said this yesterday, by tomorrow or Thursday, they're going to have a much better idea. But right now, the track has this storm hitting Florida in some shape or form, whether it's a tropical storm, tropical wave, or possibly a hurricane. And the question is, of course, where and exactly when. Sounds like Saturday could be the day, sometimes Saturday evening. And it could be Central Florida, it could be this way. So we're preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. That's what you have to do in the news business. It's just like everybody should be doing at home, frankly. And so, we've got that is the big story for the day. Mike's going to have a lot of information. 5 o'clock track comes out.
And keep an eye on that, too. I'll interrupt you for a second because Saturday night is Florida State, Boise State.
I got some information on that because I figured since I was talking to sports guys, you guys would want to know. I did text the mayor about this. I said, hey, are you guys talking about Saturday's game? He said, right now it's business as usual. They're planning on a 7 p.m. kickoff on Saturday, but they're going to continue to meet. He's already meeting with his emergency folks. And he said that they won't make a decision until Thursday afternoon.
Okay.
So Thursday afternoon is their kind of drop-dead date or time when they can say, we need to move this thing up. Because right now it looks like if they moved it to a regular afternoon game, it might be rain, possibly some rain, but nothing serious that they could get it in the earlier afternoon. They may be able to get it in at 7 o'clock just fine.
Yep.
It just depends on where this thing is and how far out and how fast it is.
And most likely Boise gets here Friday. They get here sometime on Friday, right?
The team itself, I guess
so
I don't
that's
know
why
how
he's
that
probably
works.
saying Thursday before they make the travel.
I know that Boise fans
Makes
are
sense.
already in Florida. I was on a flight from Salt Lake City to Orlando on Sunday, and I saw Boise State fans all over the place in this plane getting to Orlando. It makes sense. They're going to Disney for a couple of days.
It's good thought. And then they're out of Boise, I guess. Yeah.
Well,
how hot?
That was Austin Lane, everybody. No,
how hot must they be, though? How hot are they?
What's Boise bringing to the table?
Let me tell you what they are. They're not just hot. They're sweating for the first time. Having been out west just recently where there's no humidity, it's you could be 85 and sunny and not sweat at all. And now they're what is this wetness on my body? That's crazy.
Which also gives you a little insight on this football game Saturday night. It's hot and humid. Big advantage for Florida State.
Huge advantage. I would think. Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll keep an eye on the storm.
So
anything
Thursday
news,
we'll know.
Anything happening?
All kinds of stuff based on the storm, how we're preparing. Interesting research being done out of St. Johns County, how fast or how slow, really, it takes people to evacuate for storms. It's incredibly a lengthy process from start to finish, and so it's a good reminder to not let it take that long, frankly. So we've got some stuff on that.
We talked about it yesterday. There's been a couple of storms, and we'll let you run. But I feel like, and I know people get political. I don't really get political in this comment. I don't even know who everybody involved was at these different ones. But I feel like these last couple of storms, the big ones especially, the state of Florida and here in Jacksonville has done a nice job with them.
Yeah.
Has that been the overall thought?
That's a good question. I don't know that anybody's,
Well, usually the people get criticized in these events because they didn't get people out quick enough, or they alarmed too much, or they this or that.
Well, I tell you, there's always going to be criticism.
Absolutely.
If you're one of the last neighborhoods to get power back on, or to have your
fair enough,
there's going to be people who are going to be
those
criticizing.
have been lengthy at times,
and they have.
Yes.
And for good reason, they're upset because it's been a week or more, sometimes weeks, without power or drinking water, whatever the case may be.
I guess I was thinking more preparedness.
Yeah, that's a good question. You're catching me off guard with that one. I can't think of any major problems offhand.
Well, I
certainly can't think of any. Here's the deal: you don't really ever see anybody get praised for that either.
That's true.
You see mostly just criticism.
I thought
whether it's whether it's
a good point. It really is
deserved or not, you get criticized, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But the reality is that the real reality is we haven't had a big storm for so many years, and then we had two big ones in Matthew and Irma back to back, 16, 17. So
we're well versed now.
Well, we are, and we're also a little bit more heightened awareness. For a while, you get complacent, and I think we saw a little bit of that with Matthew. Maybe in Irma, there's more quicker. We better listen to these guys for a change, and so will that hold for this year or not? And so there's a lot of that, I think. Yeah. And I think, Jacksonville and the state, especially after Matthew, made it a higher priority as they should have, with Irma. But so.
Yeah, interesting.
There were also different storms. There was a lot of different impact too, right? Matthew hit more, the St. John's, and Jacksonville Beach, the beaches area, whereas Irma really hit
that was the central part of the state, right?
Well, it also hit the St. John's River and the areas there.
Oh, that was the downtown. Was that the Riverside flooding?
Yeah.
And even was the last one was the Keys? Is that the Keys got in Irma? The Keys got demolished.
Well, yes. Irma kind of zigzagged around, and eventually kind of came up a little closer to us than they were originally expecting.
We're acting weather guys right now is what we're
doing. I'm sure if Mike was listening, he'd be just
mortified,
cringing and mortified to hear this conversation.
Didn't you watch my coverage?
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't you read Tracking the Tropics?
I know, that's right. But that is a great plug because Tracking the Tropics is updated every day, and if you're not reading it right now, you should be, especially now. Because we've got the things change every 5 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Yeah. And then if needed, they'll start updating in between. So that's why, 5 o'clock, Mike's going to have the latest track. He's going to be able to give his expertise on that track. And so 5 o'clock on CBS 47 Fox 30 will be a good time to tune in because you have the very latest information, and it'll happen again at 11 o'clock tonight.
Do that in 28 minutes and rev up the storm tracker, people. CBS 47 will have you covered all week long. Thanks for hanging, man.
Yeah, thanks
for
having me.
Have a good night.
See you guys.
Hey, when we come back, I want to ask about the quarterback position relative to other positions from a mental health standpoint. Gronk talks about CBD oil, and that's right? CBD oil.
Yeah, well,
or just CBD.
Yes, CBD.
And could it mean a comeback for him at some point? He didn't rule it out.
Tell you what, I have some in my backpack right now. Maybe I'll call Dan Caldwell and say, give me a tryout.
Oh.
Well, it's just CBD. It's not illegal.
I know. I'm just saying, does that mean we could really, you think the last hour and a half of the show would be better?
That's not how CBD oil works, but let's go ahead and get into it after this segment. Because apparently I have to give a TED Talk now about CBD oil because Brent has no idea what I'm talking about.
I know. I'm surprised you have it on air. Go.
Are you serious? Or are you kidding, Goose?
I'm joking.
I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone world, whatever. Let's go to break.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The final Jags preseason game is this Thursday at 7 p.m. at TIAA Bank Field. They're also going to celebrate the 25th season of the Jags by throwing a party, 90s style, with music from the 90s and a fan pack that includes a shirt, a slap bracelet, and more. Meanwhile, Andrew Luck's sudden retirement still reverberates throughout the league, especially here in the AFC South. This is Jags superstar Calais Campbell with his thoughts on Andrew Luck.
I got to know him pretty well from the NFLPA meetings and Pro Bowls and stuff over the years, and I have a lot of respect for him. I know he loves the game.
I know this is a tough decision for him. I mean, this game is very demanding on you, both physically and mentally. So, I get it. It's tough. You can go with like Telvin Smith. It's the same kind of concept.
Finally, tonight is the last regular season home game of the Jumbo Shrimp. They take on the Mobile Bay Bears. First pitch is at 7. Playoff packages are available right now. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Austin Lane. I used to wear number 92, and while it's a great number, 94 just might be better.
That's because Vita de Luis recently got a 94 rating. Hey, this is Brent Martineau. Vita de Luis is a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, made in Tequila, Mexico, shipped directly to Jack's Beach. Make your own recipes with Vita de Luis tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste.
For locations, recipes, and merchandise, visit VitaDeLuis.com.
Must be at least 21 to drink. Drink responsibly.
I'm Thea Jeffers, owner of Breezy Jazz Club and T-Works Interior Decorating. It doesn't matter where you come from, it's possible to own your own business. But starting a business isn't easy. The Jacksonville Women's Business Center helped give me the confidence to keep going when the going got tough. At JWBC, I got the training, networking, and support I needed to help me reach my goals. To find out more about how JWBC can help you, visit jaxwbc.com.
Look at Jerry Jones' face when he said what he said. He looks pissed. He's had this man's back while paying him in excess of $5 to $6 million.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I'm so thankful to the NFL for the opportunity to play in one of the greatest organizations in all of sports. But during that time, I had countless injuries and 9 surgeries, which took an absolute beating on my body and my soul. I was hurt both mentally and physically. I'm here today to appeal to the sports governing bodies of the world to update their position on CBD, whether that's the NBA, MLB, or NFL. It's just time.
That's Rob Gronkowski, retired Rob Gronkowski, obviously now supporting a CBD push. And let's be honest, getting paid to do it too, but uses it. And how much of a topic is this, do you think, in locker rooms around leagues? It's hard to go down the street right now and not see a sign. It doesn't matter if it's like a clothing store, almost like a coffee shop or whatever. It says, sell CBD oil here.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, right?
Yes.
And so you can do it. You can do that.
Yep.
What is Gronk saying about it? Like, what does he want from the leagues in terms of upping their what?
So and listen, I didn't hear the whole thing. That's the first time I've heard that. And I think this is what kind of Eben was promoting, what Eugene was promoting. Eugene
Monroe was promoting this for the last 5 years.
Yeah. And now
Evan Britton's hanging around Mike Tyson.
Well.
So
yeah. Well, with Gronk as well. And listen, I understand there's a stigma, there's a taboo to CBD oil. Like, I just mentioned it, and Brent's ears kind of perked up a little bit. Like he's going to call the cops on me. For some reason, I'm kidding. But no, so with the CBD oil, Brent, basically I think what's being pushed here is for the NFL to kind of take it on, because right now it's opiates, right? I think that Gronk and other players that are kind of speaking out against the opiate crisis right now is that they want an alternative. They want the team doctors, they want the strength staff, they want the physical trainers to push an alternative to just taking these opiates. And that's where the CBD oil comes in.
So it's universal. Well, so what's the problem with it? Why don't they?
Because what doesn't the NFL?
Yeah.
What does the NFL care about more than anything, would you say?
Dollars.
Correct.
That's what you're getting at.
Correct. The NFL cares about money. And right now, I think the NFL I'm going to be honest. The NFL pushes, I think, pain pills and opiates more than they do CBD oil, because there's a lot more money to make off pain pills and the opiates. And it's ironic, And I think it's kind of messed up where the NFL says that the players come first, and their health and well-being come first. But here we are with the NFL. They want to push an 18-game schedule. They don't acknowledge CBD oil as a pain reliever, as a pain alternative to opiates. And they keep on saying that they have the best, interest in the players in mind. They have the best interest of the players in mind if they can make money off it. And right now, I think the fact with CBD oil, it's so fresh, it's so new. There's so many companies where it's hard to wrangle that in to try to put it underneath one umbrella for the NFL and make money off it. And that's why you don't see it in the NFL right now.
Do you think? Here's my criticism of the comments, okay?
Sure.
Especially Gronk's obviously selling something here.
Yeah.
Right. He takes it. He believes it. And I'm not saying he doesn't believe in it, but he's getting paid to say something on this front, at least this time. But there are guys that haven't got paid to do it. I think Monroe and Britton and guys that have talked about it. So it's fine. I think what they've got to be a little bit careful of, the Gronks of the world, too, is says, hey, I feel great mentally, physically. I'm in a great space because I'm taking CBD oil and this and that. And it might even lead to a comeback at some time. Like it's this magic pixie dust.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, is there a little bit of a line that you got to be careful of crossing, because nothing's a magic.
You don't want to sell.
You know what I mean?
You don't want to sell fake goods. What you're, you don't want to sell that snake oil. Kind of what you're getting at.
I feel like it. At least that's, again, this is a guy that really has very limited knowledge about it. I don't. Yeah. I honestly don't have a ton of knowledge, so I don't really fall on a side or of either or. But I just want to be careful that I'm not consuming what Gronk's selling as this magic whatever, then, okay, it's really not. It's just he's selling something to me.
So you have to be careful how you approach this to say, is it this magic thing or not? Because, once again, a lot of the studies I think that are conducted are bought by pharmaceutical companies who want to sway it in their favor.
Well, yeah, so we've had spin involved everywhere anyway.
Yeah, but there have been studies done, and this is by I think it was Harvard Medical Research Team, in terms of, and this happened with children having seizures. And this is where CBD oil kind of got its big break, was they didn't have an alternative to treat children with seizures. And seizures, if you've ever seen a person have a seizure, man, it's a rough thing, not especially good. A child.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine, knock on wood, thankfully I never had to go through that. I cannot imagine that. But companies started to make CBD oil for the seizures, and they realized once they started putting it on the bottom of children's feet that were very this prone to seizures, they stopped having them. And I mean, this is common knowledge. I mean, even there's some MMA fighters that were going through it with their kids that did it, and they swear by it now. So, and they're not getting paid by the companies to say that.
They just believe in it.
They believe in it. So there's that. But I just think and listen, I take CBD oil all the time, and I take the non-psychoactive stuff because I'm not trying to fail a drug test. I mean, there's different types out there. But I think from an inflammation standpoint, I think from a recovery standpoint, there's nothing better out there right now. Because, number one, you're taking something that's all natural. And I think what we talked about, Brent, NFL players these days, I think they're more concerned about what goes in their bodies. They are more concerned about, pills and things that they put in them. And they're also concerned about how they feel. They're very more in tuned than what we've seen in the NFL players the past 10 years, right? So I think with all those things considered, you have to take a good, hard look at CBD oil as being the alternative to pushing the opiates. Because listen, I've been on both sides, Brent, and I've shared this story before, man. When I had my labrum surgery, take these pills, take these pills, take these pills. Well, guess what? When I ran out of pills, you know what I wanted? I wanted more pills because I liked the way I felt when I was on those pills. Now, you can call it addiction. You can just call and say, maybe I wasn't ready to come back with my shoulder. Whatever you want to call it. I knew that once I ran out, I wish I had more pills, So that was kind of a hard habit to break, to realize, you know what? I can't rely on these pills anymore. I have to kind of go back to the way that things were instead of, basically staying in a fog every single day. And that's what it was, and I think that's the thing that people don't realize is when you're taking those opiates, man, set aside from the fact that it's just horrible for your liver and all that stuff, it just kind of leaves you in this daze. And when you play a physical game of football, when you're trying to find an outlet, when you're trying to find something to take your mind off things, well, if those pills are so accessible, if everyone's trying to push them down your throat, why wouldn't you take those pills to try to get through the day?
Yeah. Do you think if CBD oil was prevalent right then and you could have taken it, you would have taken it and you wouldn't have needed the pills, I'm saying?
Without a doubt.
But saying
hands
we
down.
wouldn't?
No, wouldn't have needed them all.
That was a lot of pain. And my point is, like, even in Andrew Luck right now.
Yeah.
Right? And Gronk, Gronk looked like a walking wounded, like, superhuman kind of guy, like a guy out of a movie.
Yeah.
But he looked like he had just been at the end of the movie where he'd been like
shot
he's
got
at
this arm brace and it's like Mr. Bionic Man.
He could hardly, Bionic, that's a good He couldn't move anymore. I mean, he just couldn't. He looked so beat up, and he's only 29 years old.
Yeah.
And now you look at him today, and you're like, oh, man, this guy looks like he's in a good place mentally. He looks good physically. He looks do you think Gronk comes back at some point?
Man. You know, when he retired, I said absolutely not. But, like, that's the one thing, Brent. He walked away because he felt like crap, basically. Like, he just couldn't get out of bed anymore. Well, if you get out of bed now, everything's easy. If you go to the gym and all of a sudden you're putting around a lot of weight and you're feeling good, I mean, who's to say that he can't come back?
Yeah.
You know? And listen, and I'm not trying to make it like a big slogan here, like a big sales pitch. But if he comes back and plays the way that he did, well, isn't that like the biggest sales pitch for CBD oil that we've ever seen? Because we've never seen a guy take opiates. You know, we're not going to see Andrew Luck walk away, take a bunch of pain pills, and say, you know what? I'm starting to feel a lot better now. I'm starting to feel good. I want to come back. It's not the way pain pills work. But if Gronk does with CBD oil, there you go.
Yeah, interesting. One last one. Yeah. CBA comes up. Will they loosen this? Will they make it more available?
Yeah, I mean,
CBD, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they need to, but once again, it depends on the money of the NFL. But also, I think medical marijuana in general. So, like, the difference between CBD oil and medical marijuana is that obviously marijuana, it has the THC, and that's what if you took a drug test you would fail for. You know, that's the whole, quote unquote getting high kind of feeling. With CBD oil, there's a lot of oils out there that aren't psychoactive, so you can't get high off it. It's just basically a pain reliever. So I think what the CBA is going to be pushing for, actually, from the players' union, is actually to, I guess, make marijuana okay in general, and not just a CBD oil. Which I think, you know, that's a conversation we could have another time. But me personally, I'm all for with marijuana being legal, because you got to think about it. If a player was to take too much of it, then they're probably not going to perform well in the field. But at the same time, a player can drink too much alcohol before a game, and and be drunk on the field, and they're not going to perform well at all. At least with one, it's going to be a natural plant, and it's going to help, maybe calm their nerves, help their anxiety a little bit. The other, with alcohol, it's going to get you jacked up and, once again, absolutely crush your liver and everything. So we'll have to stay tuned to see what the whole talk about the CBA is with that.
Yeah, and I'm interested in seeing that. What will the players win in the CBA when it has to do with whether it's CBD or medical marijuana or whatever? And I think there's going to be a win for the players. Now, I don't know what they're going to lose, but I do think along the way,
that's
there's
exactly
going to be
the
a
point,
win.
Brent. What are they going to lose? Because that's how the NFL works. Okay, we're going to
lose money.
Well, no, but I'm saying
they're not going to get to 51% or whatever they want.
Well, maybe that, or maybe adding names then. Like the NFL is going to look at, okay, so you guys want to have the medical marijuana, or you want to have CBD oil? Very cool. What are you going to do for us? And that's going to go back and forth. So maybe it's going to be the 18-game season. Maybe cancel 2 preseason games. Maybe you take away some of that lump sum. But I doubt that's going to be the case, Brent, because the last thing, I think the most important thing going into this new CBA agreement is the money. That's hands down the biggest thing.
I don't know how far away medical marijuana and CBD is, though, on that list. It might not be too far down.
I don't think it is. I mean, especially if the NFL preaches players' health, taking care of their players, it has to be one of the top priorities.
Money's always going to be the top
on both
one,
sides. Yeah, I'm talking about from the player's perspective, but also from the owner's perspective as well.
Yeah, very good. More on this topic. It's not going away, but interesting stuff out of Gronk today with that, and it's always a fascinating topic. We talk about it quite a bit. Austin knows a lot about it, and I think he's got good perspective on it, especially playing the game, and MMA fighter, physical games. So his body's been beaten up.
Well, and that's a great point too. The UFC, they push CBD oil now for their fighters, because obviously I think the drug testing in MMA and the UFC especially is a lot more stringent, but they push CBD oil for their fighters.
What we don't know is if Austin Lane can fight on skates.
Oh, I definitely can. Come on now,
man.
Friend, you've seen me skate before.
Come on, I don't know.
You know what I'm capable of.
I don't know if our next guest remembers you skating. Dejan Mingo from the Jacksonville Icemen joins us. Thanks for hanging on the line, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing fantastic. Austin now skated with you guys one morning. I don't know if you remember that or not, but he was pretty good. Former Jags player, NFL player. He's currently an MMA fighter. And now we think he might be able to be one of your enforcers on skates during the season.
I don't know about that. You have to learn how to skate first, man.
Oh, I can skate, man. Don't get it twisted.
We'll send you the video, man. He's a pretty good skater.
No, backwards and everything too.
Oh, so truth be told, hockey was actually my sport growing up. I'm from Wisconsin originally, so hockey was my sport. Unfortunately, I am from a small town, so I had to stop playing, and I played football instead. So it kind of worked from there. But no, I'm a huge hockey fan, and I can still skate a little bit.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I saw a little bit. I wasn't really paying attention. You didn't have that much skills, but I saw you skating.
Okay. Well, listen, we gotta. We edited a lot of video to make him maybe look better than he was, but he might be able to do it again. I mean, listen, you don't need the enforcer guy to really skate a lot. You're gonna go knock somebody's head off, right?
You need some balance. You don't have balance in the ice, and I don't know. They might knock you out.
Dejan Mingo with us, defenseman for the Jacksonville Icemen. Hey, you just signed to come back, all-star defenseman for the Icemen, third season here in Jacksonville. This has been a lot of fun, starting this new organization, and the crowds have been great. You go to the playoffs last year. How much fun have you had here in Jacksonville skating in the ECHL?
So far, it's been really well. The game has changed. 3 years it's been there. No one knew about it the first 2 years, and then I guess this year they have a bunch of people coming in. So hopefully we still have the same fan base as we did last year, because that was really good fan base. But I love it here. Love it. Love the beach.
From an off-season approach, I mean, how do you approach it? Do you just take time off the ice? I mean, do you stay on the ice year-round? Do you kind of, let your body recover a little bit, or are you kind of training year-round now?
Once we got kicked out of playoffs, I'd say. I took 3 months off from the ice, but I took 1 month off from just letting my body recover, and then I started working out right away after that.
How beat up do you guys get? It's a long season, a lot of travel. Obviously, it's a physical game. How beat up?
Well, during season you get beat up here and there, but when playoff hits, that's when you really get beat up in playoffs, because we're grinding, we're working harder, and the other teams are working hard, and all they do is want to hit, get you injured, and hit all game. So playoffs is more of a grind than regular season.
You're 29 years old. Dejan Mingo with us from the Jacksonville Icemen, just signed back for his third season in Jacksonville. How do you view right now in your career, where you're at, what your goals are and where to go and how you get there? What's your mindset?
My mindset, for me, I'm a slow peaker. So this age right now, I'm starting to develop. I'm getting better. So usually when you're mid-age, you're already peaked. But right now, I'm a slow peaker. I've been like that all my life. So right now, it's my job for me is to just get better every game and try to get a couple more call-ups this year coming up.
That'd be cool. Dejan Mingo with us from the Jacksonville Icemen. Had a lot of fun with the Icemen this season, going to the playoffs. The crowds have been really good. I want you to take us around some of your other stops. Give us like something memorable that because we have no idea about it. I'll go back to college. Bowling Green State University from 2012 to 2016. What was it like going to Bowling Green?
I love Bowling Green. My first 2 years, I was a forward, and my freshman year, I actually got Rookie of the Year, so as a forward.
Cool.
So that was fun. And then my junior and senior year, I switched to defense. So I wasn't a defenseman all my life. I had to get myself to where I'm at now. I had to learn new things, and it wasn't easy, obviously, but I got there. And I think that for Harpo, from the first year Jacksonville was here, Harpo helped me out a lot, and I thank him for that.
Why did you switch to defense? Was that your best way to the pros?
No, actually, my coach, well, I'll be honest, my coach just thought our D were really bad in Bowling Green at the time. So I played defense on power plays, so he was just like, you want to just try it out? And I was like, sure, why not? And then once he asked me that, he put me back there, and I've been back there ever since I left.
Very good. Your next stop was Toledo Walleye. Give us something from Toledo and being a walleye.
That's a really good experience for me, because Bowling Green is 20 minutes away from Toledo. So all the fans that went to our games also went to Toledo Walleye games, and that would just get my foot into pro. I played maybe 27 games. I started in January because I left Bowling Green early. And other than that, I had a good time there. I didn't play playoffs with them. They just released me before playoffs because he just wanted to give me the opportunity to get my foot in pro level that year.
You're from Canton, Michigan. Dejan Mingo with us from the Jacksonville Icemen, and I know Michigan pretty well, but I don't really know where Canton is. So what was it like playing in Kalamazoo? I don't know if that was closer to home or how close to home that was.
Kalamazoo is like 2.5 hours. Bowling Green was closer.
Okay.
So Kalamazoo was 2.5 hours away. But I enjoyed Kalamazoo too. That was my first full-time pro year with Kalamazoo. I was actually defense to start out in Kalamazoo. I was actually the top 5 or something for DUS points in the first month, and then he switched me to forward. And other than that, I played forward the rest of that year, and then I did pretty well, and not as well as I wanted. And then that was with Kalamazoo, obviously.
All right, so that's your sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. Keep going.
So that's your trip around from Canton, Michigan to Bowling Green to Toledo to Kalamazoo. And, well, this is the farthest you've ever been away from home, man. What do you tell everybody back home about Jacksonville?
About Jacksonville? It's cold back in Michigan now.
Yeah, that's what...
I just left Jacksonville like 3 weeks ago. I was there the whole time. I just came here. I wake up to 70 degrees, and I love it. The breeze is nice. Waking up in Jacksonville, I'm sweating right away when I walk outside.
Good stuff.
But I enjoy Jacksonville. I mean, the weather you can't beat. It does have a little, I would say, a spring.
Very small window of spring.
Exactly. Not really a winter, but I do love Jacksonville, the beach, everything over there. My first year playing, which was fun, very fun. Never thought I would be in Florida.
Good stuff. Dejan Mingo with us. As we wrap up, real quick, you guys take a lot of bus rides. You spend a lot of time together. What do? You have fun? I mean, is it dominoes? Is it some games? You just mess around with your phone? I mean, give us some. What's it like if I took a bus ride with you guys?
If you took a bus ride, you hear a lot of cussing for sure. But but we play. I didn't play. Some of the guys play cards in the back. We watch a lot of movies. We stop a lot because we get hungry, so obviously. But we stop. Other than that, it's just movies, phones. Everyone's texting somebody on the bus. Everyone has their headphones on, so usually mind our own business until someone wants to play a game or watch a movie.
Good stuff, man. Hey, well, enjoy the rest of your off season. It's ending fast. You guys open up October 12th. Against the Greenville Swamp Rabbits for the 2019 and 2020 season. It's on the way. Dejan Mingo, welcome back to Jacksonville for a third straight year. We look forward to watching you play, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and thank you for having me on the show too, man.
You bet. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Dejan Mingo joined us here on ESPN 690. He's questioning your skills.
Well, I think he's a little threatened because I might take his job, but that's okay. I'm way too busy.
Like, that was a legit threatening your skills.
He was threatening, yeah. He was threatening my skills a little bit, man.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Jason
Dejan.
Christie. Hey,
I'm going to take your job, man.
Show him the video.
Wing. I'm a left wing. I'm not playing defense. I'm scoring goals. Enough said.
Side the enforcer.
Hey, and by the way, I have balance on the ice. Don't worry about that. I have balance to fight on the ice.
Listen, I'm just saying, I believe in you, I think, more than Dejan believes you.
I mean, we got to get some more hype going on here because of Kuz's crappy video that he shot where it's all pixely.
I thought you edited that really nice. You impressed me that
Continuity edits.
Continuity edits. Back in Journalism 101. You learned that at Murray State?
No, never did, man.
Probably
Sorry.
not.
Too busy focused on the ethics of journalism. Something you also didn't go to school for. Everyone's trying to drag my name through the mud today.
Some more NFL coming up next on ESPN 690. Shoelace is a dolphin. How about that? Denora Robinson joins us on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hey, man, this is pretty cool news.
But it's exciting just to be back around football games. So,
Action Sports Jacks, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Peace of mind. It's one of the most important things we can have and sometimes the most elusive. I'm Eli Anajar from the law offices of Anajar & Levine. Auto accidents are tough enough, but can be downright scary if the other car leaves the scene before the police arrive. You may still be able to make a claim if there is available uninsured motorist coverage. Call us to help ease the fear and help you present your claim. Call the law offices of Anajar & Levine at 904-600-4000 for a consultation. That's 904-600-4000.
Office in Jacksonville.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, Texans star pass rusher Jadeveon Clowney has met with Dolphins coach Brian Flores and other members of the organization who hope to convince him to accept a trade to Miami. Clowney hasn't yet signed his $15.9 million franchise tender from Houston for this season. 12 days to go before the Cowboys' regular season opener, and still no sign of star running back Ezekiel Elliott. He continues his holdout in search of a new contract. Time is of the essence for Elliott and the Cowboys if he's going to play in Week 1, notes ESPN NFL insider Dan Graziano.
Cowboys don't want him to miss games. They have high hopes. They believe they have a great defense. They're excited about the offense with a full season of Amari Cooper. He's obviously what makes it go. So can they tolerate the idea of him missing games? And then can he tolerate the idea of not getting paid? That's when it starts to get real for him.
Panthers coach Ron Rivera said there's no doubt quarterback Cam Newton starts Week 1. Newton is dealing with a sprained foot. Cubs first baseman Anthony Rizzo with back tightness will miss tonight's series opener against the Mets. Chicago's 1 game up on Philadelphia, 2 on the Mets for the second NL wildcard spot.
Stable 360 Protection, America's #1 ethanol treatment, recommended by the world's largest small engine manufacturer, Briggs & Stratton. It protects against gum and varnish, removes water, and cleans the entire fuel system. Every time you fill up, add Stable 360 Protection for the ultimate protection. Available where fuel additives are sold.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. Good to catch up with Dejan Mingo from the Jacksonville Icemen. We had Jason Fitz on earlier from ESPN. That was kind of a fun conversation. We're going to talk to Jason every Tuesday. He's an interesting background, now transitioned into sports, and you can hear him in the mornings, Golick and Wingo, right here on ESPN 690. And he also talked about starting a new college football show on the social media channels with Maria Taylor and David Pollack, former Georgia Bulldog. Actually, a couple of Georgia Bulldogs right there, right? Isn't Maria Taylor a Bulldog? I think so. Pretty sure. So, some dogs on a Saturday afternoon. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, and Coos. And now we welcome in Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber as well. All right. We got some football. It's happening. A little NFL and college this week before the real deal starts. I mean, this is kind of the trap week, we should call it.
Because everything's all bundled together. Once we get into real football, it gets spread out a little better.
A little bit, yeah. And really, if you think about it, the season starts in 9 days, right? Isn't Chicago and Green Bay leading off? It's Thursday night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the NFL really starts. Fantasy draft, we are going to do our own fantasy deal right here.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to be able to get, what did you say, a 10-person league?
10-person league.
You guys have to describe, I haven't played in a while, so you're going to have to walk me through this like I'm a 2-year-old.
Okay. You want to make sure you get your kicker first.
Yep.
Then your
Take
team
Andrew Luck.
defense.
Do you take Andrew Luck like you did?
Do what I did.
Good
and
advice.
Get Andrew Luck.
So anyway, if we have a
It's a good
10-person
value at the
league,
time.
Yes, sir.
is it ever? It's just people inside, right?
Correct.
We're not sharing with the masses.
No,
It was too hard to coordinate.
I thought we were, and then now we're not. So I had to redo that. Not a big deal though.
No.
I have it under control.
The trash talk will be shared with
This
the
is going to be
masses,
it's going to be a half-point PPR league, but you know what that means?
I heard Coos
That
through
changes
the
it up a little.
I heard Coos through the glass just getting excited.
Changes it up a little bit.
I have no idea
that's
what that
I'm
really
into.
means.
So PPR stands for point per reception.
I understand that.
So half is going to be you get half a point per reception.
Instead of
a point. Why
Yes,
would you
sir.
want to do that?
Why not?
Why don't you just make it simple and make it a point?
It's still simple. It's just it kind of rewards the running backs that don't have a lot of catches. There you go.
That's the difference?
Basically. I guess. I don't know.
Whereas a normal league would be, that way. It's a happy medium between what would be considered a conventional league and the PPR.
There's standard scoring and there's PPR scoring.
Yeah, I got that. Isn't standard scoring is just like touchdown? Just touchdowns.
It's all the same
yards,
stuff,
but no reception points.
Okay. I don't mind that.
Okay. Because it sounded like you had a little attitude when I said half point PPR.
What I didn't understand is why didn't you go, who cares if it's a half a point or a point? That's what I'm saying.
I got you.
Well, it affects how you draft is all. Because there's less of an emphasis on receivers and running backs who can catch the ball.
It keeps things kind of fair.
What is the universal best way to play fantasy football? The ideal way to play?
Between what do you mean? Like standard
drunk.
PPR?
I'm going to ask. Drunk. I'm going to ask right now.
I think it's half point PPR.
And I'm going to say,
the only thing I've ever done.
What would you play? A 12 is it a 12 person? Is it a 10 person league? Is it PPR? Is it touchdown only? Is it a keeper league? There's all these different things in fantasy.
Tons, yeah.
Is it FanDuel or DraftKings? Is it?
I think they're all good. I don't think they're.
But is there a more dominant one? Is my question. If we're going to sign
PPR
up
or non. Well, you see rankings for both.
But the DraftKings, that's a whole different thing though, Brent, because that's daily fantasy.
Yeah.
Well, I get it. Yeah, that's totally different. Which we toyed with the idea of that.
We did. Yep.
But we're not doing that.
Maybe next year.
No, we're not. I still have to get all the emails out to everybody before our
So
draft.
are you in control of this league?
Well, nobody else wanted to spearhead it. Yeah, I am the commissioner.
All right. I'm concerned.
Just wait. I have a lot of things up my sleeves,
Commissioner
too.
Austin over here.
Do me a favor.
This is going to be like Saw. It's going to be like Saw.
Just do me a favor and
let's play a game.
Take extra doses of that CBD oil.
Trust me, Brent, when I'm done after like week 5 or 6, maybe you'll start needing some CBD oil. Because I have a lot of crazy plans in mind here.
All right. You know what we do every day? I don't know how this fantasy football stuff works sometimes, but the happy hour horn usually works, and we play that right now.
Can't make nobody come between us. Can't make nobody come between us. Oh, cherry baby.
As the careless party now begin, see the beautiful ladies marching in. There's enough for everyone to win. We're gonna make this party the best thing happening. This is my favorite place. Nothing will replace. No. Anything goes. Gangsters are rolling, half-face smiling. Heads up, think of the rhythm what you're drinking. Anything goes.
Grab a drink, get a shot, and tip your star tenders.
Definitely do that. Vita de Luis recently got a 94 rating, which is pretty awesome stuff. And you got to go check out Vita de Luis, locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, made in Tequila, Mexico, shipped directly to Jax Beach. Make your own recipes with Vita de Luis tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste. For locations, recipes, and merchandise, visit VitaDeLuis.com. Drink responsibly. Maybe the winner of our fantasy football league gets Vita de Luis.
I like that. And maybe the loser gets what? What's going to be the big loser? Because you have to do that, right?
Punishment.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a huge punishment.
Yeah, you guys come up with that. Not a tattoo.
Something that's physically taxing.
Yeah, what is Kuz going to have to do?
You got to eat something crazy.
I haven't lost a bet yet.
Oh, yeah, you have.
I just haven't come in last.
I think you lost a couple golf ones. You had one where you took...
golf one. Yeah, okay, I did lose that.
Those are the only bets we've ever made on this show.
Don't let facts get in the way of a good story, Kuz.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out what that is going to be. We also are going to do a pick segment. That will debut... Where are we at? Next week.
Yeah.
I'm not doing. We have college football to pick this week. To me, there's a couple of them. I'm gonna wait till the NFL. We'll start our picks on the NFL.
We haven't even picked our playoff teams for college football yet.
We'll do that. We can do that.
Okay.
Brent did on TV, so if you want to cheat,
you already did that.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for the invite.
You want to work on the TV side?
We're good.
You don't want to do it.
I'm just gonna sit in Alfred Blue's locker and do interviews.
But anyway, I think we should have a championship belt for the picks winner.
Okay.
That's what I'm going after.
Okay, I like that. I respect that. Yeah.
I want a belt.
I like it.
All right.
Yeah.
If I win,
let them know
I'm
the champion
I'm
is.
taking Austin's if I win the combat night belt.
Okay.
Just gonna grab that.
So I don't know. So therefore, you can't do a belt for fantasy football. There's only so many damn belts that can go around.
But I feel like the belt is like the best kind of prize, though, right? I mean, like, what else? I mean, it's set aside from a nice bottle of Vita De Louis, obviously, too. But, you know, like, the belt's good because you can wear it. You can let everybody know. I mean, you can walk in with it. You feel good. Like, I think it's better than like a medal or something, or like a crown.
That's true. I mean, trophies are a little overrated.
They are, yeah.
But we'll come up with something.
Okay.
Maybe a T-shirt or something. I don't know. Hat?
Yeah, hat's good. I mean, I can't wear hats, but it's whatever.
Well, yeah, you can't wear it. And that's not good.
Get you like a visor. Can you do visors?
Sounds like a punishment.
What did we put the over-under on Josh Allen from a sack total? Do you remember? Did we? We were saying about what, between like 5 and 8 sacks or something?
What we did was we put the over-under on the whole defensive line.
Yeah, there we
remember.
go. That's right, we did.
And it was
30 was between Allen, Yannick, and Calais.
Yep.
After watching Josh Allen this preseason.
40. Let's set that at 40.
Really?
I'm kidding. No.
Now, but I bet everybody would take over now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you asked the question, I took over.
Calais is Calais. Yannick playing with a chip and trying to earn big money. And Josh Allen looks the part.
Yep, exactly.
So, again, I always was told this, that it's a lot harder than you think to get sacks, number one, and as a rookie, number two. And so as excited as you want to get about a guy, and Dante Fowler was kind of this way. And remember, he had the ACL, so this wasn't even his first year.
Yeah.
But the first year that he played for the Jags, I remember having a similar conversation. People were excited about Dante Fowler. And I think he flashed on the practice field, too, if you remember back then. And so you're like, okay, what's he going to get? I mean, can he have 8 sacks? 10 sacks? I mean, could he have that kind of year? I mean, and, you know, now we're talking about a league where sometimes you see 15, 17, 19 sacks. So 10 sacks, not that it's not good, but it's not like there are guys that are getting more than 10 sacks is my point.
Yeah.
So to put it at 8 sacks seems like, okay, well, that's reasonable. And then I remember during that conversation, like, you should be happy if he gets 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where my mind goes now on the Josh Allen front. There's a lot of promise. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of physical skills that look wow. Remember, Dante had physical skills that looked wow, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's hard for sometimes the Jag fans to remember that, but that is true. And so while I'm not comparing Josh Allen to Dante Fowler necessarily, I do wonder if we should pump the brakes a little bit on the lofty expectations from a numbers standpoint.
So when you're talking about the numbers standpoint, you're talking about your first-round pick being a pass rusher, you have to remember that this Josh Allen situation is a special one, because usually what happens when a team takes a pass rusher, especially in the first top 10, that team needs pass rushers big time. And when that pass rusher goes to that team, he's counted for as the man. You know, like when Von Miller walked to Denver, when he got drafted, he was going to be the man since day one. When Myles Garrett went to the Browns, he was counted on to be the man day one. I think with Josh Allen here, while it would be nice if he can be the man, they don't need him to be the man. They have Yannick Ngakoue. They have Calais Campbell. They have Darius. So he's in a situation now where he's not counted on to be the man. He's in a situation where he can sit back and learn a little bit. And he's in a situation where teams can't game plan for him because there's too many other guys to game plan for. So it's almost like, you know, quote unquote, maybe your best pass rusher, maybe your second best pass rusher, we'll see how it pans out, isn't even on the radar right now because with what the Jaguars have. And we were talking about that. If you go unnoticed like that, you get sacks.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if you're talking about a situation where he has Calais or Jan on the other side, that's going to open things up for him in his opportunities to get after the quarterback. And another thing I will say is with all these guys, it's not going to be a number as much as can we see him affecting the quarterback in my eyes. Like, can we see this defensive line forcing another team to change its game plan maybe, where they're getting rid of the ball a lot quicker, where they're, you know, doing some things to try and counteract that defensive line that the Jaguars will tout as a strength, that might get lost in the numbers.
Yeah,
because
that's a good
of
point.
the overall success of that defensive line.
QB hits, moving him off a spot. And in what you're talking about, Stuart, I think is what's fascinating about him. He could have less sacks because they might use him even in the coverage game. Mm-hmm. And so, therefore, he's doing different things that allow you to be great up front and your defense to be great because of his skill set. That doesn't necessarily mean production.
So how many interceptions does he get?
He could be a guy that maybe gets 1 or 2, though.
Sure.
You know, I mean, that's You don't really think about that. You never throw that next to a defense, but he actually could be a
hard
guy.
to throw the ball over.
Could
He's
get
up there.
Although I'd be a little surprised still if he gets one. It'd be interesting to see where his numbers go. By the way, his number last night was 51 miles per hour. He threw out the first pitch at the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp game. He got it there, man. No 50 Cent, no lady that hit the camera.
Carly Rae
Nothing.
Jepsen.
I mean, no locker room fodder.
Yeah.
He did it. I mean, he's done everything well since he got here.
Yeah.
Josh Allen has been fantastic. We caught up with him yesterday at the Jumbo Shrimp game about the first pitch and also about his star power already in Jacksonville. You can almost feel it. Were you nervous out there or what?
Never. You know, once you play at the professional level, you can't be nervous no more for anything else, except for when you're having a baby. Outside of that, I was mentally prepared for it.
I don't know, man. If you fail on this, the guys in the locker room don't let you live that down.
I know. That's why I had to bring my A game today. I sorted it up a little bit. I don't want to give all my energy out. You know, I got a big game coming up and all, but I have fun.
Hey, you're signing autographs and everything. Can you tell because of your play in this month that people are excited about you? Have you felt that in Jacksonville?
Oh, yeah, man. They just want to see a playmaker, man. And, we already got a great group. They just want to see another player be great. And, I'm here to make plays, do what I can for my team, and hopefully win a lot of games.
I tell you, man, I like the maturity of this kid. That's what I see that. I think he's ready to go, and I think he gets it. And there's been a lot of little things that I think we've told you over the few weeks, whether he's eating right, doing the right things with what teammates are saying and getting coached up and what the trainers are saying, what the coaches are saying. And I know that sounds like, everybody does it. No, I don't think so. I don't think everybody does it, especially when you're young.
Not even close.
No.
Being a rookie? No.
You don't.
It's the exact opposite way.
And I think when we look back, if he has a really strong year, I think you will see that he bought into being a pro, if you will, really quick, and maybe a bigger adaptation to the NFL or quicker adaptation to the NFL than a lot of guys experience. I think it might really pay off his rookie season. By the way, he was throwing to a Kentucky guy at that first pitch.
The reason he got that strike, he had a good guy behind the plate, Riley Mahan, fellow Kentucky Wildcat. They actually went to school at the same time, so kind of cool to see them catching up.
It's fun to talk about Josh Allen. It's really a fun topic going into the season. Can't wait to watch it in a couple weeks, especially against Kansas City of all teams. When we come back, our Baker Sports Coach of the Week in high school football. What a moment it was. We'll give that out. We've got some balling and falling as well, and that includes Nick Saban. Maybe Nick Saban's finest moment on a podium. It's next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Celebrate our 10th anniversary in September. It's the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 Golf Tournament at the Golf Club at Southampton. Hey, everyone, it's Brent Martineau. Get some friends, play some golf, prizes, food, and drink on us. All you have to do is sign up and show up. September 16th for the Cadillac Dealers Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 Golf Tournament. Proceeds benefit St. Michael Soldiers and the North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. Register today at actionsportsjacksdream18.com and be a part of the celebration.
What happens when your alarm system gets triggered? Let's say you're at work and your house is getting broken into. You want the police called, right? Well, that only happens with a Safe Touch security system. You heard me, right? Yes, the law states that if an alarm is not verified, the alarm contractor must call the key holders before calling the police, giving the crooks plenty of time to clean out your home and have an easy getaway. But the Safe Touch two-way communicator verifies the holdup in just seconds, allowing the Safe Touch operators to dispatch emergency authorities in seconds. Also providing valuable information to the authorities. Customers also receive an instant text verification as well as live video of who's in your home. This video can be transferred to the police, giving them a huge advantage in the war on crime. Don't just think you're safe, know you're safe. Get the Safe Touch Advantage now and receive a free color listen and talk camera and just $5 extra for storage. Get the Safe Touch Advantage now at safetouch.com. License number EF233 with approved credit terms and conditions apply.
Introducing the next generation of SiriusXM with all new features, exclusively on the SiriusXM app and online. Enjoy over 100 ad-free extra channels filled with music for any mood. Create your own ad-free music stations with personalized stations powered by Pandora. Watch video of your favorite shows and performances, and listen in more places than ever because listening outside the car is now included in even more packages. Visit SiriusXM.com/connect to start listening today.
How are you spending your Labor Day weekend? How about not spending as much?
Come into the Home Depot and save up to 40% on appliance special buys. Get a Samsung washer and dryer for just $4.98 each. Prevent your clothes from being frayed and your budget from being snagged. See why with Labor Day savings. Today is the day for doing. The Home Depot. More saving. More doing. U.S. only while supplies last. Gas dryer extra. See store for details. Valid through September 11th.
Hey everybody, this is Austin Lane. I used to wear number 92, and while it's a great number, 94 just might be better.
That's because Vida de Luis recently got a 94 rating. Hey, this is Brent Martineau. Vida de Luis is a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. Make your own recipes with Vida de Luis tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste.
For locations, recipes, and merchandise, visit VitaDeLuis.com.
Leave your troubles ashore. Live the island life with the citrus of the sea. Vida de Luis tequila. Must be at least 21 to drink. Drink responsibly.
Savings on top of huge selection, on top of rave customer reviews. That's how they do the National Clearance Event at Arlington Toyota. During the National Clearance Event, you can take your pick from over 1,000 new and pre-owned on Arlington's lot. I mean, come on! 1,000 vehicles. You know you're going to find what you want and save during the National Clearance Event at Arlington. Right now, during the National Clearance Event at Arlington, buy a 2019 Camry LE from just $18,888. That's a pre-owned 2019 Camry LE from just $18,888. Or buy a 2019 RAV4 XLE from just $24,888. That's a pre-owned 2019 RAV4 XLE from just $24,888. Plus, you get the Arlington Toyota $5,000 Advantage Club with your purchase. Just one of the tons of reasons why Arlington's earned 4.7 out of 5 stars and over 7,000 Google reviews. Arlington knows how to do the national clearance sale right, but you've got to get it while the getting is good. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online 24/7 at arlingtontoyota.com.
That's what sleeping with a CPAP sounds like. If you can't use CPAP, imagine pressing a button and it sounding like this. That's sleeping with Inspire. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire is a sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body with one click of a remote. That's right, just a button. If you have sleep apnea, great sleep awaits at InspireSleep.com. That's InspireSleep.com. Inspire. Sleep apnea innovation. No mask, no hose, just sleep.
Talk to your doctor to see if Inspire is right for you and review important safety information at InspireSleep.com. Get all the perks with the Planet Fitness Black Card for $1 down and $21.99 a month. Bring a guest anytime and more. Join in club or at PlanetFitness.com.
Regularly $59 to join. Hurry, $1 down ends August 27th.
See club for details.
A computer can change the life of a child. As you replace your company's computers, consider donating your end-of-life machines to the STEM2 Hub. We work with local partners to complete data destruction and updates needed to get the computers into the hands of local students who don't have the access to these critical technologies. Help us close the digital divide. For more information, visit STEM2hub.org. That's STEM, the number 2, HUB.org. Donate to STEM2 Hub and help prepare local students for the jobs of the future.
He's saying they thought by sending me to Cleveland, even though they made the best deal clearly for themselves in their mind, you thought that you were sending me to Cleveland, you were sending me to purgatory.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick Wingo. Well, I'm assuming you can hear this as long as Justin didn't pull a cruise move and mess up. You're listening to Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
The irony in Golick mentioning that now is that we just got, struck by thunder and lightning, it seems like, around here.
Yeah.
So there's a chance something did get knocked off.
Yeah. It's really starting
Pretty
to move
dark
in here.
outside right now.
This isn't the tropical storm, right?
It's
This
not
is just,
Dorian.
okay, it's not Dorian.
It's just Florida storms.
Okay.
Pretty
It's just
standard.
another day, baby. You
It's another
afraid?
day in Florida. I'm not afraid, man. If you're scared, go to church, right? I'm good. I'm on the
Good
show
way to
now.
do it.
But by the way, I actually said that. I said that exact phrase in a cage one time after my fight because I was trying to call my next opponent, and I told him that if you're scared, go to church. And then I told him if you need a ride, I'll give you an Uber, and then I'll beat you or something in the cage.
Hey, you weren't lying.
5-star service.
Uber and everything.
Yeah. I'm a very truthful man.
Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Action Sports Jack, Stuart Weber. Coos here on a Tuesday, 5:25 or so. A couple segments to go here on a Tuesday as this week moves closer and closer, not only to preseason game number 4, but also Florida State and
Put a dollar
Boise
in the jar
State.
there.
And
Boise State,
then
yeah.
12 days away before the Jags and Chiefs
Yep.
play. I want to talk a little high school football right now because what we're going to do on Tuesdays is give away a Baker Sports Coach of the Week award from the previous Friday in high school sports. And we really had some cool opportunities to give one away for week number 1. Of course, we're doing our Game of the Week. We appreciate Baker Sports for their support in our Game of the Week on ESPN 690. They've also always been so supportive of a lot of things that we've done on Action Sports Jacks, and also, of course, in throughout the high schools, not only football, but all sports. But this was pretty cool, man. Wolfson has not been very good over the years. You were at that game.
Yes.
So go ahead, Weber. Give our first award away. Our Baker Sports Coach of the Week is...
Well, pretty clearly it's Wolfson's head coach, since we just said Wolfson. Dennis Bettinger, who is in his second year there at Wolfson and hoping to provide some stability and lay some groundwork, because in the previous, 4 or 5 years, you're talking about 4 or 5 head coaches. The constant churn, guy comes in for a year, goes 1-9, leaves, that constant thing. But Coach Bettinger is hoping to change things around a little bit and to change it for the better. And this game at Stanton was really a good kind of indication of some of the progress this team has made. A year ago, these two teams played, and Stanton beat them 40-0 with a running clock at the end. This time around, they come from behind, mind you. It was 19-8 at one point, and they go on to win 36-19. So quick math on that one. They scored the final 28 points and were able to beat Stanton, get a big victory, go to 1-0, which I have no idea how long it's been since they've been 1-0, much less get a 1 win for a whole season. So really cool. And the thing that really struck me when I got to Stanton's crowd was packed, which is awesome, because that's another team that both of these teams are challenged. And it's funny how we look at it this way. They're challenged because it's very hard to get in there academically.
Yeah. And Wolfson's become an IB school, right?
So Wolfson's an IB school. Stanton College Prep is obviously an IB school as well. So you're talking the best of the best when it comes to academics in order to move on to college. And so that tends to lead to difficulties in athletics.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the nature of it.
It's not only, yes, it's a little bit stereotypical, baby, but it's also factual.
It is. It is.
So I guess it's not stereotypical. It's fact.
Correct. So
at least on the football field, it's been fact.
But it was very
Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Stanford, Harvard, all those kind of schools. So it was really cool, though, to come in and see the atmosphere that they had built there. So props to the Blue Devils of Stanton, because their crowd was packed.
Their student section does a nice job.
Student section does a nice job. But then the visiting section was packed as well, which was awesome to see, because all the Wolfson folks were there, the family, the friends, everyone was there to support the team. And when they won the game, they were going nuts. And it was just really cool to see that excitement and to see that support for these young men that have been putting in all that hard work over the last month.
You can feel the excitement and now hear the excitement. Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber caught up with Coach right after the game. Check it out.
It was a dogfight. My hats go off to that fine team over there. We're both the same thing, both IB, and we go through the struggles of school and everything like that, and to fight like that. They beat us last year 40-0, so we wanted to give them a game. And, these guys fought hard, and I couldn't be more proud of them and the Wolfson way of getting things back together, because we've been the doormat for a long time, and it's about time. It feels good. We 1-0. I tell you that right now. I told the team all day long, I don't care what it's going to take. 4th and 80, I got to get the win, and we're going to go for it, because we ain't got nothing to lose. When you're desperate and your back's against the wall, we're going to fight, and that's what we did, and we gambled.
And he mentioned 4th and 80 because in that fourth quarter, as they were trying to run out the clock, they had a 4th and 20 from midfield. And it was a little screen pass. The pass travels like 2 yards in the air. The dude fought the next 18.5 yards to go 20.5 when they needed 20 and to just get across the marker and get that first down to continue to run out the clock. And it was a very indicative play of what that second half of the game really was. And yeah, Coach was excited. Coach was pumped up. And, yeah, it was fun. It was good.
Dennis Bettinger, the first Baker Sports Coach of the Week, coming off a big win for Wolfson. They are now 1-0. They'll play Paxson this Friday night at 6 o'clock at Wolfson. So congratulations to them. Our game of the week this week, Stuart Weber and Kevin Sullivan will be on the call. It is Friday night. And Fernandina Beach, Yulee against Fernandina Beach. That's a 7 o'clock start, so check that out. Will be a lot of fun. And if you missed any of the video on Wolfson last week or any of the video and audio from really the entire blitz. You can check it out on Facebook and YouTube. It's all up there on
Full
our
show's
social
up
media
there.
channels. And what we did is actually broke down the calls of the game from Friday night's Columbia Trinity game. Took about a 2-minute chunk of highlights and put that out on social media too. So you can find it just about anywhere if you're interested in seeing some of the high school football action. And we've got another full slate coming up this week. All right, ballin' and fallin'. And Nick Saban.
Fallen, by the way, might be the sky.
It really is.
This
dark outside.
giant cloud is quite ominous as it's moving past the studio.
I mean, it looks like it's 10 o'clock at night out.
Yeah. It's super aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Be careful
that
driving.
thing's moving by. Yeah, if you're listening in a car, be careful.
Absolutely. All right, ballin' and fallin', we come back. Includes Nick Saban.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The final Jags preseason game is this Thursday at 7 p.m. at TIAA Bank Field. They're also going to celebrate the 25th season of the Jags by throwing a party, 90s style, with music from the 90s and a fan pack that includes a shirt, a slap bracelet, and more. Meanwhile, Andrew Luck's sudden retirement still reverberates throughout the league, especially here in the AFC South. This is Jags superstar Calais Campbell with his thoughts on Andrew Luck.
I got to know him pretty well from like the NFLPA meetings and Pro Bowl stuff over the years, and I have a lot of respect for him. I know he loves the game. I know this is a tough decision for him. I mean, it's just, this game is very demanding on you, both physically and mentally. So, I get it. It's tough. You can go with like Telvin Smith. It's the same kind of concept.
Finally, tonight is the last regular season home game of the Jumbo Shrimp. They take on the Mobile Bay Bears. First pitch is at 7. Playoff packages are available right now. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
Hey, fantasy footballers, this is Brent Martineau. Pizza, wings, and ice-cold drafts at your upcoming draft. Let's make it happen. Host your party at Renna's in Neptune Beach, the newest of 5 locations in the area. Specials available for your draft party, plus Wi-Fi and televisions. Pick the players with the fastest 40 times at Renna's Pizza, family-owned for more than 40 years. Want a fresh one? Then get to Renna's Pizza in Neptune Beach for your fantasy football draft party. And tell them ESPN 690 sent you.
There is one name synonymous with joint replacement excellence, and that name is Heekin of the Heekin Clinic. For 18 years, Dr. R. David Heekin and his staff have been the leader for treatment of hip and knee pain. Eliminating hip and knee pain through advanced surgical and non-surgical techniques has been Dr. Heekin's sole goal since retiring from the Army in 2001. If you're looking to ease your hip and knee pain, schedule an appointment today and call 328-5979 or visit HeekinClinic.com. That's HeekinClinic.com.
Football season is back. Almost. As we, the fans, anticipate the new season, Tailgaters Parking invites you to come experience the best tailgating at TIAA Bank Field. Tailgaters Parkers know that if you've never experienced Tailgaters Parking, you've never experienced tailgating at all. Tailgaters is on Talleyrand Avenue, right across from TIAA Bank Field. It's safe and secure with clean, permanent restrooms and a full-service bar and grill. Reserve your individual or group spaces now at tailgatersparking.com.
Action News Jacks this morning. Now, the most watched local morning news. Because when you need to know right now, we're live on the scene from the beaches to downtown to St. Johns County. Meteorologist Garrett Beatonball with a detailed local forecast you can't get on your phone. And traffic expert Derek Odom. He's an advisor for the Department of Transportation, warning you first about backups before you ever leave the house. Action News Jacks this morning. Now, the most watched local morning news.
Savings on top of huge selection on top of rave customer reviews. That's how they do the National Clearance Event at Arlington Toyota. During the National Clearance Event, you can take your pick from over 1,000 new and pre-owned on Arlington's lot. I mean, come on! 1,000 vehicles. You know you're going to find what you want and save during the National Clearance Event at Arlington. Right now, during the National Clearance Event at Arlington, buy a 2019 Camry LE from just $18,888. That's a pre-owned 2019 Camry LE from just $18,888. Or buy a 2019 RAV4 XLE from just $24,888. That's a pre-owned 2019 RAV4 XLE from just $24,888. Plus, you get the Arlington Toyota $5,000 Advantage Club with your purchase. Just one of the tons of reasons why Arlington's earned 4.7 out of 5 stars and over 7,000 Google reviews. Arlington knows how to do the national clearance sale right, but you've got to get it while the getting is good. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online 24/7 at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
I just don't know that there was a city that would be really excited about Rick Pitino. What has he accomplished in the pros that would suggest that it's worth taking on all of the baggage that he comes with?
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Let's get after it. 25 minutes to go here on a Tuesday, and a lot to get to still, including balling and falling, or ballin' and falling.
There you go.
Going to put the apostrophe at the end.
Yep.
It really is dark here.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be some kind of like tornado warning or something, right? Or not?
Nah, I don't think so. I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
It's just a bad storm.
You would hear it. There would be an alarm going off over there.
I've never seen it get this dark in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy.
Wild. Okay, ballin' and falling time.
The rain is falling.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna begin. And I'm not usually the most complimentary guy to Nick Saban.
I don't think a lot of people are, Brent.
Well, but I think a lot of people are. I think we hear the noise that aren't. You know, it's kind of like the Belichick, Brady, the Patriots. It's like Duke basketball.
People respect him, but he's not necessarily the most.
Yeah, and again, it kind of goes back to Belichick, but it also goes back to being king of the mountain. You want to rip down the guy that's king of the mountain. I mean, and that's the way he's been. And he doesn't do it see, I don't think anybody will ever be like that to Dabo Swinney because he's kind of a fun-loving, smiles all the time, seems engaging guy, even though, hey, and I know he's not this, at least that's what we've heard, he's not this, but he could be the biggest jerk in the world.
Yeah.
But the way he comes across. See, Saban, I think, probably is a lot nicer than people give him credit for. And maybe he's not. But, I mean, I think there's more personality in there. There's more nice guy in there than he comes across. But we always see him as the not-so-great guy. And so, we build these perceptions of people the way they are based in front of TV cameras and microphones, and you never know what the reality is. But bottom line is, he sometimes delivers fantastic messages. And there are a lot of clips over the years of him from a minute and a half of his news conference delivering a message that you probably want to show your kids. You know, this is a guy that's a master recruiter, a master game planner, a heck of a coach, and is one of the best all time in college football. He's a good guy to listen to. Let's just put it at that.
Yeah.
And I don't always agree with him because I think sometimes his stuff is self-motivated to stay on top of the mountain. And that's part of where you're at, right?
It's part of college football, man. It's cutthroat.
It's business.
Do what you got to
right?
do.
It's business. It's like, what's going to help me stay at the top? Well, I think a lot of times the views of Saban and Alabama, help them stay at the top, but not necessarily always great for the college football in general and for the masses. Well, this one was pretty interesting. Listen to what he had to say about when guys get punished and everybody makes a big deal about it, especially if you don't just kick them to the curb.
There's always a lot of criticism out there when somebody does something wrong. Everybody wants to know how you're going to punish the guy, right? But there's not enough for 19 and 20-year-old kids, people out there saying, why don't you give them another chance? All right, so I'm going to give a speech right now about this. Where do you want him to be? Guy makes a mistake. Where do you want him to be? You want him to be in the street, or do you want him to be here graduating? You know, when I was over there at the Nagurski, Muhsin Muhammad, who played 15 years for the Carolina Panthers, played for me at Michigan State. Everybody in the school. Every newspaper guy, everybody was killing a guy because he got in trouble and said there's no way he should be on our team. I didn't kick him off the team. I suspended him. I made him do stuff. He graduated from Michigan State. He played 15 years in the league. All right, he's a president of a company now, and he has 7 children, and his oldest daughter goes to Princeton. So who was right? I feel strong about this now, really strong, all right, about all the criticism out there of every guy that's 19 years old that makes a mistake, and you all kill him. And then some people won't stand up for him. So my question to you is, where do you want him to be? You want to condemn him to a life sentence, or do you want the guy to have his children going to Princeton? You guys are getting me fired up. You better be careful on this one, buddy. You might want to just pass that thing on down the road.
Good way to end it for Saban. I love the passion, first of all. Yep. Whether you agree or not, I love the passion that Saban has for that topic and for the kids. And I thought it was well done, well said. And I don't know if I disagree with him. The only thing I would think from a critical standpoint is, okay, that's a great example that he showed.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic example.
Okay, give us a couple that haven't worked when you have given them a second chance and you've entitled them and gave them a third chance and gave them another chance because you're trying to see that and try to get the best out of them. But sooner or later, you know, in a world that we live in right now where entitlement is such a big word that's thrown around with millennials and kids and college programs and athletes, there is a fine line. But I really liked what he said, and I think it's a tough line to toe for a football coach. You go recruit a young man, you know his family, you're trying to take care of him as much as you can, and then he makes a mistake. Where is the line you draw to say, get the heck out of my program, you're on your own, or, hey, I want to put my arm around you, and I want to make you a better person. Who cares about the football part of it? I want to make you a better person.
No, absolutely. And I think it just goes into effect of how bad is the punishment where you can still have that guy's back. You know, the example he gave, that player, I think, got in trouble with some like drugs and alcohol or something like that. So on the spectrum of of bad things, I mean, to me, drugs and alcohol, that doesn't, that's not even close to like domestic abuse or like something like that, and I think, and listen, I've been a strong advocate of this. I think where if you get convicted, if you get proven guilty of beating up a female, I don't think there's any place for that in college football and in the university, because you have to think about it like this. And listen, I agree with what Saban was saying. I think you have to give kids, especially 18 and 19-year-olds, a chance. Listen, I remember being 18 and 19-year-old, Brent, and I didn't make the best decisions when I was that age. I probably made a lot of bad decisions. But at the same time, we can't just put football players on a pedestal and say, well, since they're football players, it's okay. Because say a normal college kid gets, pulled over with drugs and alcohol. Well, does he get thrown out of the university or does he get to stay? If he's a football player, that's going to help out a lot. And I get it. He's on scholarship and football's making the money, and I get that. But I think it's from 18 to 19-year-olds in general, Brent. I think where, if a student gets in trouble on campus and it's nothing serious, like I said, like beating somebody up, maybe it's like a minor thing. Well, then give him another chance. This isn't just a football thing. I think this is an 18 to 19-year-old kid in general. This is a life thing. Yeah. I just don't like the fact that, I think football players get extra treatment because they play on the football team. And then they have a scholarship as opposed to just like your basic generic, kid who maybe came from a rough part of the neighborhood, just trying to be better for himself and unfortunately couldn't play football. And now he's out of luck because he got in trouble at school.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a good point, too. Yeah. And there is a different sense, though, then in that situation, I don't know if they have enough pull as a Nick Saban. But maybe there's a professor that's looking out for him or something. Now, and that's not always the case, right?
True.
Fair enough. But anyway, I thought that was really good from Saban. I liked his passion. I think there are parts of it you could argue. I think it's a situational type of deal overall. But I thought his main point was really well said. And I wish, I wish coaches would give us more evidence of guys like that worked like that. Said, hey, you know what? This guy screwed up, and then look what he did. Mm-hmm. And so, that was a cool story. I didn't know that story. I want more of those stories.
Yeah.
It's okay to share that, too, and still tell a guy got 3 touchdowns and is headed to the NFL.
Yeah.
You can do both.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I think everyone deserves a second chance pending, the right stipulations. but not just football players. I think students in general.
What's your balling before we had to break?
So according to Carly Lloyd's trainer, Carly Lloyd being part of the women's national team, she has been offered to kick in an NFL preseason game this week. She was told the team would make a roster spot for her to play this Thursday, but unfortunately, due to conflict of interest with the U.S. women's national team having a game on Thursday, she won't be able to take part. The team was not revealed of who was interested in her services, but your opinion, Brent, is it a way to sell seats for preseason, or is it actually this is out of good faith and this is actually a genuine offer?
Yeah, well, listen, I think there's elements to this that are marketing based.
Yeah.
I don't know about selling tickets, but I do think it's gaining attention. Everybody, NFL's a monster, but they still can use attention.
Yeah.
It's okay to have good attention, positive attention, be a game changer, a trendsetter. Those are things that are okay. I long have been interested in this, though. Why not? We see it on college campuses, right? There's stories of that, hey, a kid, didn't Florida a couple years ago, they were trying out like the, I forget the story, but they were trying out a kicker that, Pinheiro in general didn't even kick in high school.
Yeah.
And now he's kicking for Chicago, but that's not the one I'm thinking about. They were actually so far down, and I forget the story, but there was a kid that they were trying out, and I think he was in dental school. If the story's right, I think he was in dental school. I think that's it. I'm going to have to Google it. But it just came to me, and I think that was it. He wasn't on the team. He wasn't doing anything else.
Sure.
But anyway, in that position, why not go grab a soccer player? Haven't you always wondered that?
Yeah.
Why not go grab a guy from the Premier League?
Yeah.
And why not go grab Carly Lloyd if she can do it? I don't know if she can do it. I think that's a different side of it.
Well, and I think the biggest difference from her, if you watch her kick that field goal, I think she was with the Eagles when she kicked that.
Yeah.
It's like a 55-yarder.
Yeah.
She's a lot farther back.
She
than kickers
was
are.
running
But
start, no equipment.
Yeah, so you obviously have to get like your steps down and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for this too. Why not? At least take a risk and see what happens. Maybe she goes out there and kicks a 60-yard field goal. Maybe she's got a job in the NFL. You just never know.
If nothing else, it would make for a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
If she's successful at it.
It's going to be a Disney movie for sure.
That's a Disney movie. Like a woman plays football. We're talking about women in football now in the NFL, right? Yep. Assistant jobs, on staffs, those kind of things. Well, what about? And I mean, kicker makes them sense. And it would be fascinating to see. I would welcome it to see it.
Absolutely.
But you got to be in uniform. You got to go kind of shorten up. You got to do this. You got to work on it. And I think that's probably bigger than anything is Carly Lloyd saying, okay, if we're going to do this sometime, maybe it comes next year. Let me be prepared for this. Let me not be just like a circus act, just a marketing stint. Let me be seriously prepared for this and nail this thing. Give myself a chance to do it. So I actually like the fact that she turned this offer down. But I think another one's coming. And I wouldn't be surprised to see her get a crack. Now, whether it's a workout or something like that, I don't know if it'll be in a game.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be shocked to see it happen sometime down the road. We got a little Fallen, and we put a bow on the show. Next on ESPN 690.
Sí, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
How do you feel about the guy like Stugatz who says the phrase in casual parlance, swipes 40 bags for you a season?
Oh, that's what you have to say. What are you talking about? You're the weird one here, Dan.
How else would you say
Put it, put it on the poll. Swipes 40 bags a season. Jerk or no jerk?
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Being in the Army National Guard is about more than serving your country. It's about being there for your community when your neighbors need you most. The Army National Guard makes college affordable, and serving part-time can help you graduate debt-free. Do you want to stay close to friends and family? The Guard allows you to serve close to home. Serving part-time in the Army National Guard lets you have the life you want. Learn more by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Get all the perks with the Planet Fitness Black Card for just $1 down. That means every time you thought,
I don't have the motivation to work out,
you could bring a friend. Or,
I really need a massage,
you could get one. And you could work out at any Planet Fitness worldwide.
Ooh, a Planet Fitness.
Just $1 down and $21.99 a month to get all the perks. Join in club or at planetfitness.com.
Regularly $59 to join. Hurry, $1 down ends August 27th.
Annual membership fee applies. Participating locations only. See club for details.
You're shrimping the bed.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by Community First with tickets starting at just $5 is home this weekend. The weekend of boom. Today at 4:30, it's a Baptist Health Sunday Family Fun Day and a fan appreciation doubleheader with fireworks presented by 1-to-1 Financial. Tomorrow is ViStar Charity begins at home and the regular season wraps up on Jet Home Loans and Florida Realty and Mortgage Military Appreciation Night. On Tuesday, call 358-2846 or jackshrimp.com. Affordable family fun.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau, and let me be your party planner. How does this sound? 18 holes at the golf club at Southampton, followed by your fantasy football draft party. Golf and football, and oh yeah, food. Southampton has it all, including a special tailgate catering menu all fall. Call 287-PLAY. That's 287-PLAY to set up golf, your fantasy football party at the clubhouse, and give Lisa a call for your tailgate catering. 287-PLAY, and see the menu at golfsouthampton.com.
Savings on top of huge selection on top of rave customer reviews. That's how they do the National Clearance Event at Arlington Toyota. During the National Clearance Event, you can take your pick from over 1,000 new and pre-owned on Arlington's lot. I mean, come on, 1,000 vehicles. You know you're going to find what you want and save during the National Clearance Event at Arlington. Right now, during the National Clearance Event at Arlington, buy a 2019 Corolla LE from just $14,888. That's a pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE from just $14,888. Or buy a 2019 Tacoma SR5 from just $24,888. That's a pre-owned 2019 Tacoma SR5 from just $24,888. Plus, you get the Arlington Toyota $5,000 Advantage Club with your purchase. Just one of the tons of reasons why Arlington's earned 4.7 out of 5 stars and over 7,000 Google reviews. Arlington knows how to do the national clearance sale right, but you've got to get it while the getting is good. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online 24/7 at arlingtontoyota.com.
Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post, beat writer for the Broncos.
But maybe Cam need that little bit of a kick in the rear end, because over a 48-hour span where Doug is saying probably not for Kansas City, and all of a sudden he's out there with a helmet.
Action Sports Jacks, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Trey Wingo here from Golic & Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane. Give the guys a call. Grab your cell phone and call *690. This is ESPN 690.
Oh, yeah, it is. Ballin' and Fallin' continues with Fallin'. We got a little stadium. We got everything. We're backed up today a bit. A lot of guests, a lot of fun guests. Yep. Dejan Mingo from the Iceman joined us. Jason Fitz from ESPN. We talked all about his musical career and now the transition to sports. That was a lot of fun. And former FSU great, and always a great, Charlie Ward joined us as well. He will be at Palm Beach Autographs on Saturday, signing autographs before the Florida State-Boise game. It'll be noon until 2, so plenty of time to go to Palm Beach Autographs at the Avenues, get an autograph from Charlie, a picture, say hello, and then still get down to the stadium and tailgate for the 7 o'clock kick against Boise State. So a lot of fun things happening in Jacksonville. We're talking all about them, and it's time for a little Fallin'.
Roxanne J77 on Twitter reached out to Christian Yelich and offered a very displeased tweet. It wasn't about the Brewers' loss to the Cardinals yesterday, which I almost reached out to Yelich and spoke to him about. It was about the ESPN body issue. After it was announced that Yelich would be part of the ESPN body issue magazine, Roxanne took to Twitter by saying the following: "It's really sad how you didn't give a thought about all your young kids that idolize you for doing before you chose to do a naked photo shoot." Straight face emoji, and then distasteful followed up by that. In which case, Christian Yelich retweeted her and said, "Calm down, Roxanne." Love it. So, yeah.
You're infatuated with this body issue.
Hey, once again, slow news day, and this is what popped up in my feed. So, sorry.
I like it.
Just wait to get to pump your brakes.
Speaking of fallen, I'm going to say the Houston Texans.
Okay.
Reports are now that there's a couple of reports. Ian Rappaport said earlier today that Jadeveon Clowney has met with Brian Flores, the Miami coach.
Not sure how that's legal.
Which we said is you can do that, and I've since learned you can do that if the team gives you permission to do it. Which shows you, one, that the team obviously is actively trying to get rid of Clowney and get something in return. And then there was just another tweet out from a reporter, I think, in the Houston area. Actually, it's not Adam Clanton. Should I know that name? co-host in Houston. Yeah, okay. So if this is correct, said the relationship between Clowney and the Texans cannot be salvaged at this point. And it certainly appears that way. So my fault is the Houston Texans because I think the Texans are going to lose on this. I think, one, they're going to lose because they know they want to get rid of him, so you're not going to get the compensation. But I also believe, I think they're making a bit of a mistake on Clowney.
By not keeping him.
I do.
Yeah, well.
I mean, I know there's
how much
mixed
are you willing
reviews
to pay
on Clowney.
But, yeah, I say keep Clowney, Brent, but you're not going to pay Clowney, Khalil Mack kind of money, though. Or are you?
No, you're not. I understand what he was asking for. But I guess in these negotiations, which we discussed a lot with Yannick Ngakoue too, in his situation, I still don't feel like it's just because you might ask and there might be what feel like an ultimatum. It is an ultimatum. There's ground to be worked on. So whatever the situation is, how they got to this point, I just feel like Jadeveon Clowney is a player worth keeping for the Houston Texans. Yeah. And I'm not saying he's worth keeping at $12 million or $23 million, but I think there's middle ground to find out that you should make a priority to keep a guy like that because I feel J.J. Watt is on the downside. I think he's had enough of injuries where even if he gives you another year or two, you've got this guy now who could be a game wrecker for the next 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
I feel like they're loose on a guy that was a top 5 pick and that is a talented guy and can be a really good player in the NFL. Now, the money thing is different. I don't. We just did this whole thing with Yannick Ngakoue, so I get it. You can come to – I'll say the same thing, by the way, about the Jags if they don't somehow keep Yannick Ngakoue next year. Yeah. So I would feel similarly. I just think you have to find a way, some way or another, to keep talented pass rushers, and they're missing out.
I just don't understand why they're going to Miami. Because what does Miami have to trade that the Texans would want?
I don't know if they have anything to trade, but they might have the dollars that he wants to sign him long term.
Okay, but they don't have offensive linemen. I don't think they're going to get rid of Kenyon Drake.
Well, this day and age, too, you trade for picks. I mean, you trade picks.
Just trade picks.
I don't know what Miami's stockpile is right now, but you trade for picks. All right, quick stay in your lane.
I
What
feel
you
like
got?
Houston needs offensive linemen. All right, so cruise control. Ryan Shazier. Oh, yep. Sorry.
Hey, you can talk over it.
Okay.
It's all right.
You'd be surprised how hard that is for me. There's not enough CBD oil in the world to be able to do that. Ryan Shazier, in case you don't know him, look him up real quick, everybody. You should know who he is by now. Once was told he had a 20% chance of walking again on the sidelines. And Sunday night, he was seen playing catch with his teammates for the Steelers. Obviously making a really miraculous recovery. Shout out to him, Ryan Shazier, man. Just a great story. And listen, this is a guy that said he wants to play football again, and who knows if that time's going to ever come. But I'll tell you this much. I'm not going to question his mindset and his drive to do that because, by all things considered, it's looking like he's on that way so far.
It's been pretty impressive what he's done.
Yep. Pump your brakes. Are you literally so rich you have no idea what to buy anymore? Are you so rich that you don't want to show your NFL fandom in ways that are both confusing and will garner the response of people talking behind your back with quotes like, "What was he thinking of buying that?" Well, come on over to JaguarsProShop.com and get a Jacksonville Jaguars Swarovski Crystal Large football helmet. Get this price, Brent. $9,999. Have it today. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think, can you get it autographed?
No, it's all diamonds. Brent, we're talking about Jacksonville Jaguars Swarovski Black Crystal Football Helmet Diamonds. Wait, I just got word. Yeah, let's go ahead and lower that price. $8,000. People are ringing off the hook. I sold one to Fred Durst last weekend. Get this helmet right now. It's got these crystals. The crystals, they're worth $1 million a pop. We're losing money selling this thing right now.
Is this a home shopping network?
That's what I'm trying to turn. That's what it seems like. Look at this helmet. Who's going to buy that helmet? I don't have it. I mean, look at it when you get it shot.
He's trying to sell me on it. He doesn't have it up.
Look at it.
Like he keeps looking at the screen like he's got it.
I know. Sorry. I'll try to be the home shopping network guy.
I've got a perfect place for it right here.
Oh, yeah.
Right here. I'm going to build a little shelf.
Maybe that's what the winner of the Fantasy Football League should get.
Hey, I don't know if the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp will play tonight, so check your schedule with the weather the way it is, but it's the final home game, so if they do, hopefully you can get out there. Congratulations to the Shrimp on a good season. They still have a chance of making the playoffs, but it's an outside one. Thanks for hanging with us here today. I'll see you on the TV side. CBS 47 and Fox 30 coming up tonight. Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. You hear us daily on ESPN 690.